This is the Scoop Slam Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Scoop Slam Podcast. We are back once again. It's the Weekend Update Super Show. We did not record our Raw and Dynamite episode that we normally do, so we're packing it all into one because, we need a little bit of a break from recording after the absolute whirlwind that was the world of wrestling past week, and we have lives, so we're just going to cram it all in. After this, we should be back to our regular schedule, but I'm Micah, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host. It's Ryan.
Yo, Micah, thank God, man. Was it 85 hours of wrestling we had to watch over the last week and a half?
Something like that, man. I just needed a minute to step away.
Yeah.
And then not only that, with all the TV stuff, just all the internet stuff, checking Twitter every 20 minutes. It's been a mess. But it ain't been a great week to follow either.
No, sir. And I saw 2 scoop slams on the weekly television, so I was excited.
Yeah, I caught both of those, which I'm cool with that, but ooh, the wrestling itself. I will say this, for all of you fantasy football players, man, it's just been a week. Let me just tell you about it.
Yeah, it's been hectic.
It's Thursday night. The Rams versus the Buffalo Bills.
Oof.
Guess who I drafted? Cam Akers.
Oh, man.
Oh my God. He was supposed to be the starting running back for the Rams, right? So I was like, all right, I'll start him. I had him a few years ago. He was good. Tore his Achilles last season, but I heard he was fully healthy. Just take a guess how many points he had.
Well, he had like 12? 13?
No.
Like 6? Anything lower?
No.
Come on, lower than 6. 2?
No.
He had negative points?
0. 0 points. 3 rushes, 0 yards because Darrell Henderson outsnapped him.
Jesus.
And right now, at the date of recording, I'm fighting for the game, putting my faith in the Cowboys, which is like, pissing $50 away at a casino and thinking you're going to win 10 grand. So we'll see how that works out for me.
Well, I mean,
and then on Saturday, we had Alabama.
Man, it took years off my life, man. I was sitting there risking my job watching this.
Oh, I know. I was doing the same thing. I had to take a long lunch because it was like the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter.
Bro, I was on the clock. I had to peek off into a abandoned area of the store and just prop my phone up and started praying to the Lord that nobody walked past me.
Oh man, but Bryce Young is that man. I'll give him that. But
he built different.
So now Alabama's number 2. Almost lost to an unranked team. Hopefully we can get it together. It was just one of them weekends in college football, man.
Bro, they were on the road. I mean, they were on the road.
Yeah.
Texas is a historically, maybe not in the last few years, but they're historically great program. And, I mean, it's still early in the season. Stuff like this is going to happen. I mean, you shouldn't have expected a beat down every week from Alabama. I mean, they're rebuilding the whole wide receiver core. Like, all of these guys are new.
That's true. I think it's just one of them things, man, because I've talked about it. You get so spoiled as an Alabama fan that, you're like, man, we'll beat them 65-0. And then I won't even watch the games after the second quarter because it's like, man, what am I doing?
They got the third stringers in.
Yeah. You got the high school athletes. And you might as well put the JV team out there. But then we go and play Texas, and it's a close game the whole time. And all I know is I'm sitting here sick, fixing to throw up, not wanting to go back into lunch. And I'm like, you can't, you either get a blowout or a close game where you want to throw up. And there's no in between, and I don't want either of them.
It was a sloppy game too. I think it was like 15 penalties Alabama had. That's not like old Saban's teams.
And everybody wanted to talk about how the refs gave Alabama the win. I'm like, man, that was the most penalties in Nick Saban has ever had.
They threw 15 flags. What do you want more?
You know, man, everybody gotta hate Alabama, but you know,
Yeah,
they hate us because they ain't us. What can we say?
we are the best college franchise in the whole United States.
That's true. Nobody's rivaling us. I still got faith, but it was just one of them weekends, man. Notre Dame lost to like Marshall,
Yeah.
which I was
Oh
laughing because I
man.
don't like Notre Dame.
A&M got
A&M,
beat
yeah.
down by Appalachian State.
Yep. Somebody else lost, I think. Maybe it was BYU. Florida lost to number 20 Kentucky.
I
So it's
like
just been
that.
one of them weeks, man.
I like that. I don't like Florida.
They all right.
Oh man,
Eh.
I root for the underdog Kentucky, man. Literally, what Kentucky done in the last 20 years?
That's a good point. They've actually built a decent football program over the past few years. Like, obviously not
Not like
national
their
championship
basketball.
contenders. Yeah,
Not like their
but
basketball program.
oh God, no. But more like, I mean, they've usually been ranked at least at some point during the season. So
Yeah,
things are happening up there. I got
they ain't
family
no,
up there, so I rock with Kentucky.
they ain't no Vanderbilt. We'll give them some credit.
God, no. But anyways, after a wild weekend,
How do we get on
we're recording.
that?
Man, I don't know. I was running down my stressful week and this piss poor week of weekly television for wrestling, but
Hey,
anyways, we'll
well,
move on.
well, I mean, the football week has been a lot better than the wrestling week.
Oh, absolutely. It's just that time, man. There's nothing like football season.
And,
Some people like hockey.
some people do
Nah,
like hockey. I mean, it depends. The playoffs is watchable, but I can't sit there and watch a regular season game.
no. Or baseball. I'll watch basketball, not baseball.
Oh, heck no. I'd never watch no baseball, man. That's like 4 hours.
I know. Just for the score to be like 2-1, Braves win. I ain't watching that.
Oh,
That's why I like
heck no.
basketball. It'd be
Oh,
like
yeah, at least something.
128 to
Yeah, something's always happening.
yeah.
There's no downtime.
But I don't know how my Lakers are going to fare this year.
I got faith.
I
faith.
don't.
Patrick Beverly is going to take us to the promised land, man. You watch him. He's the play-in tournament MVP last year.
Oh my God. That's like Mitch Trubisky being the Nickelodeon player of the game.
Hey, man, put some respect on Mitch Trubisky, man.
No, man. I mean, he did win the starting job, so I give him that. But
Yeah. The Nickelodeon valuable player, man, that's a lot of history with that award, man.
it's a once in a lifetime achievement.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get started on Monday.
Oof.
I don't want to, but we will.
Yeah.
Raw opened up with Edge, and obviously after the ensuing aftermath of the Clash at the Castle stuff, there was a lot on his mind as Dominic turned on him, well, I'll hold that joke for later. Edge talked about how he watched Dom since he was a kid growing up. He used to stay at their house in San Diego when they were on the road, and he just doesn't really understand what his frustration is with Edge. He apologized. You can clearly see on the TV it was an accident, which is something I don't really understand. But anyways, but Edge says he's sick of talking, trying to, calm him down. He wants to fight like a man. He's old enough. You're not a kid anymore. We're going to settle this. And of course, Rey Mysterio comes out trying to vouch for his kid, which I get. He asks, please forgive him. He's not in his right mind. He doesn't know what he's doing. But Edge vehemently is like, no, he's not a kid, which I do like because obviously we've talked about them treating him like a kid for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And then Rhea interrupts. And she says that he's not Ray's little boy anymore.
Oh,
and I've turned him into a man.
What does she mean by that? What does she mean by that, Michael?
You know. So I just want to make a call back to anybody who listened to past episodes, you called this months ago. You
I was
said
wanting
this
it.
very thing.
I was wanting it, man.
All I gotta say is they're listening.
They are. They're being scoop slammed somewhere, man. And in
Somebody is.
Connecticut, in Stamford, Connecticut, somebody's being scoop slammed.
Well, maybe it's Hunter. Maybe he's got an itch to hear these two dated fans. But anyways, Rhea pans to the motions to the entranceway, and Dominic walks out. And he's got the all black suit on, and he got
Got
the
the hair
mullet
slicked back.
back.
Yeah.
The boy was cleaned up. Rhea showed him how to dress. Changed my man's life. And I thought he looked good. He looked better here than he has really any other time in that superhero Seth Rollins jumpsuit.
Yeah.
But
The fit was clean.
yeah, I'll give him that. Can we call him Submanic now? Or is that too far?
You were waiting to crack that joke, weren't you?
I was. I had that one saved. Anyways, that was pretty much all to this was the new reemergence or reintroduction to the new Dominic Mysterio. They started chanting "Who's your poppy" at him, which I thought was kind of funny. And Ray tried to convince him to leave Edge alone, but Dominic just kind of stared through him. Ray walks to the back, and then Finn and Priest come from behind, start attacking Edge. And then Ray tries to come back and help. They beat him down, and they stand tall to close this segment. Overall, I'm interested to see where they go with this. I think it's drug on for too long, but it added a new
element,
flavor. Yeah.
It's Dom had no emotion either in that segment. I like that.
Oh, hey, maybe they're just playing into his strengths.
Oh man, hey man, this is the best thing for Dominic though, to be with the Judgment Day. He couldn't be riding Ray's coattails for much longer. It was getting old. It was getting stale. Him being with a group like the Judgment Day with really, really seasoned guys like Priest and Balor, it's gonna help him in the long run. And maybe this group is gonna help like shoot Rhea and Dom into like superstardom. Maybe this is their evolution. You know how evolution built up Batista and Randy. Maybe Judgment Day is there to build up Dom and Rhea.
That's what I think it should have been to begin with, but I think you get there with Edge rather than Finn and Damian, who really haven't accomplished anything.
Well, Finn is the first Universal Champion. Come on now, let's give him some credit.
Oh, really? Okay, when's he won it again, though?
You said what now? Well, he won the NXT title again after that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, man, that's not the point. The point is, it's gonna build up, these young stars, emerging stars like Dom and Rhea. Rhea's what, 24, 25? Dom is 25. Finn and Damian are if they're not 40, they're in the upper part of their 30s. They're not going to be here 10 years from now, but Dom and Rhea hopefully will be. And the Judgment Day thing is probably, it's going to be a big part in their story in the long run. So, I'm for it,
man. It could be worse.
We'll see.
So we'll see where
Can you
it
see
goes.
Ripley challenging the men someday? Or is that never, ever coming back? How do you feel about intergender wrestling?
It just feels kind of indie to me. Because, could Rhea feasibly beat up, I don't know, let's say, Dominic Mysterio? Okay, yeah, maybe. Could she beat up Johnny Gargano? Okay, maybe. But, Is Rhea
Oh
gonna beat
no,
up
heck no,
Roman?
no, no, no. But you didn't have
Mm,
China wrestling Steve Austin, though.
and then I mean no, but it just starts to also. I mean, domestic abuse is a real thing that happens, and it's kind of. I feel like some people would turn it on
Yeah,
and think that it was kind of tasteless, which I get, but and it feels kind of indie to me too, because you got some of these guys in the indies wrestling women, and
looks
every time I see
ridiculous.
it, I'm just like, I can't tell
Especially if you
myself
got
that's
like
real.
Chris Statlander versus Brian Cage on like Beyond Wrestling. Like, come on, man, what are we doing here? And then she beats him or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it, man. I'm not a big fan of intergender wrestling either. But some people online are saying they wouldn't mind seeing it.
I think it just depends on the opponent, and I think how it's done plays into it too. If she's fighting dirty, I'm not saying she couldn't beat somebody up from like behind or a nut shot and then start beating them down. Okay, yeah, I'm for that. Because China probably could have beat up some guys, but also like, China's probably not gonna beat up, even though she was co-champions with them, like Eddie Guerrero. Like that's
Yeah,
a little,
I just don't like when
I don't know.
they'll just sit there and let Rhea beat them up senseless, and they won't retaliate. Like, come on, man, you gotta throw a clothesline or something.
Yeah, I get your point there. Um, because I mean, we've
It
said that same thing
emasculates
where
the
it's just
dudes,
like,
man.
you know, yeah. Well, like
Yeah.
eventually you got to do something. So I don't know. Well, but we'll move on. I'm interested to see where this goes. Next up, the Miz was in the parking lot, and they were trying to get him to give some insight into the recent events of what's happened between him and Dexter Loomis. He kind of blew him off, and then they just walked up on like a flipped car that was like smoking really bad, and that was pretty much it.
Was that a
Foreshadowing.
Dexter Loomis foreshadow, or was that Braun foreshadowing?
Mm,
You
good
know,
point.
Braun
I
was
didn't think
flipping
about
cars
that.
back in 2016.
Could be either or. I don't know. Triple H really loves these
Yeah, the
background
backstage
things.
chaos too.
Like it has been every week. Yeah. Like every week there's something happening back. Somebody wrecked a car. Somebody's trying to find somebody. Like there's just always something going on. Now, I'm not saying I'm hating it. It's just kind of funny, like the immediate change, and it's like an every
That
single
parking lot
week
is dangerous,
thing.
man.
Well, speaking of dangerous, we
Oh
had a
my.
4-team tag match for the number one contendership for the Usos tag titles. The Usos tag titles. The Usos are the champions of the tag titles. Uh, I don't even. Uh, uh, there's not like a ton that happened here. I'm not gonna lie and say that I watch this super intently because my God, this is the first of 1,000 like multi-man
Yeah.
tag matches this week. I think Cash tweeted it earlier this week. I miss seeing 2-on-2 tag
I thought
team
he was talking about
matches.
him and Dax.
Well, it can apply to
No,
either.
did you see when Woods and Kingston try to pin each other at the start of the match though?
I did see that. Now that I liked because it was funny and it makes sense because it's kind of goofy the rules of
I
those
ain't seen
matches
that since the New
anyways.
Age
But
Outlaws did that in like the late
uh,
'90s. That was pretty cool. You don't see it a
well, I
lot.
mean, like I said, yeah. But also, why? If me and you were in a tag match and they tag both of us in, like, why would we start fighting? That's just stupid. But anyways, not really much happened during the match. The big talking point was the aftermath. Gable had locked on an ankle lock on a Montez Ford as Braun Strowman's music hit, and he came out with a vengeance. He cleaned the house, just took everybody out of the ring. Security came down. He knocked all them out. He went to the outside to do
Oh
the
no.
Strowman Express onto Otis, who
Oh
was leaning
man.
into the barricade.
You
And
gotta
he,
point this out.
He was running around on the hard cam side, and he cut the corner, and he tripped and got up, and then just kept going. Which, I mean, is the best way to play it off, but I felt like secondhand embarrassed.
He got up fast though.
He didn't control his narrative.
He looked in good shape though. He looked like he was hitting the gym or had the Billy Gunn substance.
Yeah, he looks cut.
Good. He looked good. It's about time he got some new gear.
I mean, That's true. I wasn't gonna say that he was a Billy Gunn meal routine, but I'm sure Control Your Narrative has a great wellness policy.
He got a good pop too.
But I thought, yeah, they were hot here, and they were. Where were they for this one? I know they were in Buffalo for Dynamite.
I don't know. They were in Seattle for Friday though, so I don't know.
That makes sense. Wherever they were hot for it, and so it was a good show. In terms of the crowd being up and stuff like this, and it's one of the things, man. Like, think about all the hate that Strowman gets on the internet, but the people like in WWE still love him. So I'll give him credit there. I think it's a good
vocal
signing.
minority online, man. It's like the people that are mad at Punk online. Man, he's still gonna get a huge monster reaction if he comes out.
Yeah, and we'll get a little bit on that later, I guess, about like you said, the vocal minority. But I thought he was going to be a face, but then he power slammed Dawkins into the announce table, and so I guess he's just.
Man. It's obvious he hates tag team wrestling. You remember when he beat up the whole tag team division at that WrestleMania? When he was teaming with the 8-year-old.
Oh man! So he just got Vince's mentality.
He beat him up all through the picture-in-picture too.
That's what I was fixing to get to. He did all the cool stuff during the picture-in-picture, and I was like, man, what the crap? Like he just didn't he like didn't he powerbomb Otis? Or was that
he did
on
SmackDown?
SmackDown?
On SmackDown, but I think he hit somebody, like he threw somebody through the announce table on the picture-in-picture.
I know. Well, no, he power slammed Dawkins right before the picture-in-picture. Regardless, he was just beating the piss out of people during the picture-in-picture, and then we come back and he's already at the back.
The fact that they put that in picture-in-picture though, like they had my man beat up the tag division for 10 straight minutes.
And then that makes them look like jabronis. No wonder the Usos have been champs for so long. I don't know, man. Welcome back, Braun Strowman. But the segment was cool.
Up now.
It was cool.
I'm not gonna let
until
them
the
get
picture-in-picture.
It was a no contest on a no DQ match. Because Fatal 4-Ways are Fatal 4-Ways are always no DQ. How is that no contest?
I guess because maybe nobody was fit to compete.
No, come on, man. That don't make no sense. You remember when they did the no contest at the Hell in a Cell a few years ago? It made no sense then either.
Oh man.
I think Braun was in that match too.
Are you sure? I thought it was Bray and Seth, or was that just another run?
Actually, you know what? They did it 2 straight years because they did it. They had Braun and Roman in the Hell in a Cell match, and then Brock Lesnar came out returning, and he like ripped the door off the Hell in a Cell, and he beat Braun and Roman up, and it ended in no contest. And then the next year, Seth Rollins and Bray had a no contest in Hell in a Cell too, because I guess Seth Rollins was about to hit Bray with a sledgehammer, and then he actually did, and the bell rung. So it was a DQ and a no DQ match. They done did some wild stuff since you went away, Micah.
I'm about to say, I remember hearing that the Bray Seth thing was like extremely atrocious, but I mean, I never watched the match. I didn't really know what happened, But oh my God, like
I know.
that doesn't even make sense. You remember the
Yes.
first Hell in a Cell?
Yes.
And Kane came in and beat up Undertaker, and then
Yeah.
Shawn won.
Well, no, not
What
that
the heck?
time. Brock came out, beat them both up, and then credits rolled, and then see you tomorrow night, folks. That was it.
Mm,
Oh
the
man.
Dark Ages. Well, Triple H has got us on the up, but
We were down for this next one though.
yeah, that don't mean I'm tuning in. I'm about to say that don't mean I'm tuning into this next one. Nikki Ash and Doudrop fought
Ugh.
Raquel and Aaliyah, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the noodles started
Yeah.
boiling over. I had to run in
Yeah.
there and stop it.
My finger slipped on the fast forward button.
Anyways, I think your finger stopped around when Rey Mysterio was in the back, talking about how he will never put his hands on his son, but no one deserves this beating more than anyone from the Judgment Day. So he challenges Damian Priest to a match tonight, and obviously Damian would accept.
Yeah.
That was
Wasn't
pretty
much to
much
add on.
it. Um, now, mm, this right here should have been a telltale about the rest of the week that was coming up.
Oh no.
Austin Theory was in the ring, and we're big Theory guys.
Yeah.
I like Austin
I am too.
Theory.
This was not his
Mm,
best. Yeah, this was not his
not
best.
this week.
This was bad.
He came out talking about what had happened at Clash at the Castle, which was the whole, Tyson Fury knocked him out. He ran out there to cash in during the Roman and Drew thing. Tyson knocked him out. So he's holding his jaw. He's selling it, whatever. He could not quit stuttering or just like tripping
Yeah.
over himself and holding his jaw the entire time. What did he say? My money
Yeah.
in the contract. I mean, my
Oh
money in the
man, it was
bank.
bad.
I
Why did they
felt
not
bad for the
send
guy.
KO out earlier? Like they let him. Man, you can tell he did not know his lines in this promo, and he was just stumbling over every other sentence. At first, you let him slide with that first line, but then he did it again. I'm like, oh man, this is bad. And then he did 3 or 4 more times, and the crowd was letting him have it. He was holding his jaw. I get if it wasn't a part of the storyline, he did well trying to cover up for it by holding his jaw. But still, this was amateur stuff, man. This made Theory look really, really bad.
Do you think it's maybe some of the less of the Vince stuff? Maybe because I've heard rumors that there's less scripting on the promos. Do you think it has something to do with that and he's just not
It didn't sound like
adjusting
his
well?
words though. Like it just sounded like scripted stuff that you would see on WWE television at like a random Raw last year. Like, it didn't seem like it was his word, his verbiage. It was bad, man. It was. I remember texting you when I was watching this, and I said, "Jesus Christ, man." Austin Theory just cut one of the worst promos I've seen in so long. And I like Austin Theory, man, but it made him look so minorly. Like it soured me on the fact that he should be the future of the company, man. At that point I was like, dang, maybe Braun Breaker ain't so bad.
I told you, man. He just needs
Put
to
him
be
in that
pulled
spot.
up. I don't know. And I sent you a TikTok later in the week that was talking about that Christian segment from, I think it was like something to do with 2000.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but it was back when him and
Yeah.
Edge were teammates. What did he
Didn't
say?
you like miss his line? He like forgot what he was supposed to say.
He forgot something. He forgot his line, but he combined two words. I don't remember what it was, but
Yeah.
yeah, this was bad. Anyways, Kevin Owens interrupted and he started cracking jokes about Theory getting knocked out by Tyson Fury. He tells him, I heard you found your first name again,
I don't like
just
that,
as
man. I
Matt
don't like
Riddle
that. I
has.
don't like when they get
And
meta like that. I don't like when AEW does it. I don't like
I
when
don't know.
WWE does it.
I see your point. It doesn't bother me all the time. In this case, it did bother me, but
It makes it seem fake, man.
I don't know.
It makes it seem like they're cracking jokes at a
Yeah.
TV show. They're like breaking the fourth wall, looking into the camera, saying stuff that you would see on like a behind the scenes features in a DVD release. I don't know, man. I particularly didn't like it. Kevin Owens is a great promo. He don't need to placate to the online minority fans.
Hey, Cole Cabana, how you doing?
Yeah,
That's all I could think
I
when
didn't know
you
what he
said
was
breaking
talking
the
about
fourth
back then
wall.
when I heard it.
I didn't either. Who's this
New
guy? What's
Japan,
Ring
what
of
is that?
Honor? Nah, I knew it. Yeah, I knew what Ring of Honor was. I
Bro,
did
I
not
had
know
no
what New
idea.
Japan was. But also, ladies and gentlemen, keep in mind,
Bro,
I was
I
9
was
years
11,
old.
man. I didn't
So
know.
you weren't. Nah, you ain't 2 years older than me.
Pipe bomb was what? When was the pipe bomb? Oh, okay. Well, I was
2011.
13 and I didn't know what he was talking about.
Anyways, he says that Tyson Fury ended up doing Theory a favor because Roman and Drew would have killed him in that match if they were, or if he was
Mmm.
to try and interrupt it.
Mmm.
He says that he had
Bro,
Roman beat
your boy
18.
Dak, man,
Oh,
is
hold on.
getting beat
Okay.
down by Tampa Bay right now. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, Jesus. I had a 68% win percentage before now, and now it's down to 48.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Oh,
man.
my
Go
God.
ahead.
Well, I got faith in
Oof.
Cortland Sutton tomorrow. He's my saving grace. Jeez. Anyways, um, he says that he had Roman beat down about as bad as they have Dak right now. 18 months ago, so he knows that Theory would have been crushed by both of them. But the only reason that Theory was able to win the Money in the Bank was because Kevin Owens was not in that match. And so then he also broke the fourth wall kind of by saying, well, now a
Oh,
referee is going to run down, and now we're going to fight. So this is the part where I'm supposed to say that we're going to fight. So let's fight. And I was like,
God.
I
Yeah,
wanted to
but
see the
how they got
match.
there was this ain't gonna be on the best of DVD of both guys. I'll tell you that. Hey, the match was good
Far
though. The
from
match
it.
was good.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. This is raw. This is raw to me. There are positives with glaring negatives. There are some it's night and day. One week it's good stuff. The next week it'll be just rotten as ever. And there really was not much, maybe besides like the last 5 minutes of the main event, that I truly enjoyed about
There was
this
a lot of
episode of Raw.
angles going on, a lot of stuff that they were building up to. So it wasn't a lot of great matches. It was just a lot of matches to get the angles.
Yeah, and a lot of
Oh
recapping
yeah,
Clash at the Castle. Every time we come back
bunch of
from a
it.
commercial break that's not in a match, it's
Yeah, it was a
got to
lot
be
of that.
recapping that. There was a segment, like a straight up 5 minute segment. They came out of commercial break, ran through all of Clash at the Castle, and this was in the middle of the show, not the beginning. Then ran a 5 minute package about Clash at the Castle, cut back to commercial break, then had a package about I think the troops, where it had something to do with
Yeah,
this guy's story about his war
I skipped
experience or whatever. That's cool. But man, it was like 10 minutes, and that's just all Raw is. It's just filling time. They've got to find a way to fill that hour that they've added on and have handcuffed themselves
that.
to.
Yeah, you're right, man. There's really no justifying that having that many promo packages for an event that they had a promo package for at the beginning of the show.
Exactly. Run it all once. Maybe show small clips every now and then for people that missed it at the top of the show. But like other than that, man,
Well,
I don't
I mean,
know.
on the plus side, they're rebuilding Kevin Owens. He looks like a threat on this show now.
Yeah, I'll run down the match real quick because he won and the
Oh
people
yeah,
were very up for him. The match started gritty. They were outside throwing each other into the barricade, stomps, punches, using the turnbuckle posts. As we came back from the break, Theory was in control as he landed that roll through DDT, but it wasn't enough to put Owens away. Kevin Owens landed a swanton coming out of another break, but only managed a 2 count. The crowd got really behind Owens as he landed a suplex off the top, or it was like not a
it was a
superplex,
fisherman
but
buster. Yeah,
Fisherman Buster. Okay. See, you're the aficionado here. I'm just writing
I ain't
stuff
no
down.
Excalibur man.
Anyways, oh god, the Tome Suicida, the Liger bomb. All right, brother. I
Hey,
get
you watch
you.
them
Never mind.
basement
Love
indie
Sam. I
matches, man.
get
I
it.
get it, but does everything have to have like everything have to
That's
have
what I was
like
about to say.
a confusing name to it?
I mean, hey man, what can we say? We
Yeah,
do run a
we'll take his word
podcast.
for it.
Anyways, he came down with that Fisherman Buster off the top, hit Theory with a sit out power bomb and then a stunner. Finished the match 1, 2, 3, and
Yeah,
the crowd popped huge. This is what 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks in a row that Owens picked up a
yeah.
win on Raw. Do you think he's being built up for Bobby or Roman?
I think that Drew and Roman are done because of what happened on SmackDown. So I can see KO being
I
the
hope.
next challenger for Roman. But then again, Braun just came back. I can see him challenging as well. I don't even think Roman's scheduled for the next pay per view or premium live event. I think maybe Survivor Series he'll be back. And at that point, do you do brand versus brand, NXT versus WWE that night? Can you see them doing something like that?
Roman
Oh
just
man,
fights
hey, I
himself.
can see Roman versus Braun Breaker.
I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah,
It would
yeah.
elevate Braun, but I don't know, man. He's not slated for
No.
the pay per view, like you said. I think his next scheduled appearance is the 23rd of September. And this is the exact reason that I said, and I know, and a report came out this week that he should be, they gave him the win over Drew because they're trying to build him up as a generational, once in a lifetime talent. Is he not already that? Like he's held the belt for 700 days. There's only like 4 other guys to ever do that. And most of them were in the 60s and 70s when that was just something you could get by with. Um why did he I don't know, man. We touched on this at the Clash at the Castle show. Go watch that if you want to hear our analysis, but this is the exact thing that I feel like they've stepped in a bear trap and can't get themselves out of. Where do you go from here? Especially if he's not being full time.
There's really not a lot of places you can go until Cody comes back. They're just, I mean, you can have him feud with Braun, maybe KO again, but he's already feuded with KO. I don't know, man. Seth again? Can you see that once the Riddle feud is over with Seth?
Mm. Their stuff at Royal Rumble was good, but I don't
Never
know.
had a finish.
Yeah, but Seth is so intolerable right now.
Yeah, but Triple H is in power now, so maybe we'll get some more of that architect Seth Rollins stuff.
One can only hope because that was peak. But I,
Blonde streak, Seth Rollins is peak Seth
that's
Rollins.
facts. The only thing I will say that I would like to see, I mean, I know it wouldn't lead to them taking the title off of it, and I do love the stuff they're doing with Sammy on SmackDown. But if KO and Roman were to have a feud, I wouldn't hate it because then the Sammy thing plays another aspect into it, and then you can pick what side Sammy goes on. Does he prove his true allegiance to the bloodline, or does he turn on Roman and them? Or does he turn on Roman and them to fake it, and then in the match he ends up screwing KO to prove his ultimate loyalty to the bloodline?
I can see them like beating up Sammy, and then KO comes out, saves Sammy, and then we build up to a Sammy versus KO. Well, Sammy and KO versus the Usos, and they take the titles off the Usos, because the Usos been champ for over a year too. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate that either.
And there's really no tag teams that are built up that could. I mean, who do you have on the babyface side that could take it off the Usos?
Nobody, because the Street Profits have been running to the ground. Top Dollar is treading water without swerve. So what else you got?
You really don't have a lot of babyface teams.
Do they have anybody in NXT they can pull up? I mean, you've got Imperium, but they're heels. Well, I mean,
there's
Imperium.
No babyface teams.
What about the Creed brothers? I don't know. I haven't watched much of it.
The Creed brothers are good. They just need a little more seasoning when it comes to like microphone stuff. But they are really good in the ring. I just can't see them like carrying a promo segment back and forth with the Usos. They would get eaten alive by the Usos.
That's true. And the Usos are really, I mean, they're veterans at this point. So, I don't know, man. Do you bring up Roderick?
Well, what else is he going to do?
Oh, that's a good point. But who would you bring him with?
That's another good point. I don't know.
I mean, hey, Bobby Fish is on the market.
What's Bobby Fish doing? Yeah, I was just about to say that.
So, I mean, I don't know, man. I'll give Triple H time, because it's not going to be overnight for you to build up a tag division, honestly, or obviously. But right now,
so AEW women's division is Buns, and WWE's tag division is Buns.
Yeah.
If they could just combine, like, they could just share talent for those two divisions, it would be really, really good.
Hey, man, TK said, well, never mind.
Give us FTR, man.
No.
Come on now. Y'all ain't using them.
No.
Give us FTR, man.
We'll give y'all the Elite, and every mark on Twitter can cry themselves to sleep that CM Punk is right. 'Cause if the Elite goes to WWE, I'm going to stop watching AEW. Okay. Everybody else already stops watching when they're on the TV anyway.
Oh, come on, man. I heard they sent out feelers to WWE.
Good. I hope Triple H feels them all up. I hope the Young Bucks feel all of WWE that they want. They can have them.
Oh, come on, man.
We'll give y'all Kenny and the Bucks. Give us Cody.
You like Kenny. You like Kenny. What do you want to give us Kenny now? I thought he was your guy.
He ain't my guy. I do like Kenny, but also
You ready to trade him away?
Hey man, sometimes some people have to suffer for the greater good. And no, in all seriousness,
you willing to sell out the backbone of AEW for CM Punk?
The backbone? He ain't been here for 8 months.
Heart and soul. The heart and soul that built this company.
That's a weekend heart.
To sell him
That's
out.
a heart with vertigo, Ryan.
Oh man, come on.
Anyways,
CM Punk done poisoned your mind.
Hey man, straight edge society.
He was good.
I'm a follower. Nah, he's good now. Anyways, man.
Yeah, when he's not calling out poor old Colt Cabana.
No, I see. Colt Cabana tweeted something that said,
"Oh no, where's my action figure?"
Yeah, I want an AEW action figure, and somebody commented and said, "Did you ask your mom if she could buy it for you?" Anyways,
I saw one reply. I saw one reply that said, "Hold up, I'm about to go to Target. Which one you want?"
They hating on this man, and I agree. I'm here for it.
What else we had on the show?
Next up, we had Miz and Ciampa in the back. They cut a solid promo about how Miz was going to overcome Bobby Lashley tonight to win the title. Did you notice Ciampa kept calling him Mike instead of the Miz?
I like it. I thought that was funny.
I don't know, man. I don't hate it. I just don't get the purpose. Maybe it's because they're like he feels like they're better friends, so so he gets to call him by his real name or
Yeah.
something like that.
Come on, man. Did you bat an eye when Ray called Batista Dave or something like that?
I guess that's a good point. I didn't think about it like that. So you're calling me out on my nitpicking. All right, I appreciate that.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was funny when he called him Mike.
It's not that big of a deal. I mean, I just wondered if there was a reason that maybe I didn't know, but it is what it is. Anyways, Damage, Kai, and Sky was out next, and they Bailey's laugh is atrocious. I don't know, man. Her on the mic is okay, and then sometimes she tries too hard, I feel like.
Yeah, she got the Seth Rollins syndrome, where she tries way too hard and it sounds hokey.
Yeah, I mean, I can't explain it. It's almost like she tries to pass off these jokes to the crowd, and just nobody. Maybe it's just me, but I don't really think it's that funny. And that's the same way with Seth. It just,
yeah.
I guess I never thought about it like that, but they're trying like way too hard. But
and then when they got EO saying the Japanese stuff, man, I ain't trying to be that guy, but can we just not give her the microphone?
I wouldn't.
Come on, man. I gotta be the voice of reason in the IWC, man. It's not good. And then she speaks in broken English too. Like, come on, man. Just don't say anything. Just stand there. You okay if you just stand there? I'm fine with it. Don't say anything, please.
I'm better with if she says something in Japanese, and then Bailey is like, EO says this, kind of like Penta says, but I don't know, man. The broken English part, I know she can't help it, and like you said, I know it sounds bad to say, but it just feels hokey. Do you remember any time Yokozuna ever spoke? Ever?
If he did, he said one word, and that was bonsai. That's it.
I don't know. It's just Vader. Vader didn't really talk, even though he was English. But
and you know what?
Intimidating.
Hey, you know what, man? No, you know what? We ain't gonna give them a pass because they've been in the. Okay, this probably gonna sound bad when I say it, but they've been in the United States for how many years? You tell me they couldn't go to one English class?
That's a hot take.
They couldn't go to one English, Micah. Come on, man.
I see your point.
They were down there developmental for what 3-4 years. She didn't take. They have send EO to English class every Tuesday afternoons after weight training. No, they couldn't have did that, Micah. Was that not a thing?
I don't know. Maybe they don't have tutors on site.
Jesus Christ.
Anyways,
we spending way too much time on this segment.
They were out there talking about. We probably spending more time talking about it than they were in the ring. They were talking about that they were going to win the tag titles next week on Raw. And then Bailey starts to dog Bianca about how she was the only one to ever pin her in over 300 days. And, of course, Bianca is not going to take that lightly. So she comes out, and despite how pissed she is, she's twirling her hair and skipping.
Yeah.
Bianca challenges her to a match right now, but Bailey naturally declines, being the heel she is. She says that she's in control of, or Bianca says that you can call yourself Damage Control all you want. You're not in control of anything until you take this women's title from me. And Bailey says that she's going to get that title one way or another.
Yep.
This was here?
Uh-huh. It was there.
They should not have lost that tag title match, man. I don't think we reviewed that episode because of technical difficulties or something.
That sucked, man. that match sucked.
Like, why? Why did they not win? Raquel and Aaliyah are not built up at all.
They're trying to do stuff with him every week, but it's just not working for me, man. I don't know. I like Raquel when she was in NXT, but she was a heel in NXT, and when she was a babyface, she wasn't going out there smiling every single week like she does now. They're having a rematch next week. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. They're challenging for the tag titles next week. So I mean, I hope they win,
So
but
it'd make no sense if they did, though. Like, why didn't they just give them the win to start with? Well, just to give a babyface win on TV?
yeah, I mean, I guess from a insider standpoint, it don't make sense. From a show standpoint, like if Bailey helps them cheat or something. But again, like why would you not put the title on them going into Clash at the Castle so you can be like, hey, we got the women's tag team champions going to the UK.
Maybe it was just because they were babyface. Because, I mean, there's a lot of heels that hold championships on this show, Mike. Maybe it was to give, the good guys a win finally.
Yeah, but both of your women's champions are faces in Bianca and Liv. Why not have heel tag
But
champs?
then but then you got Roman as the world champ. You got Gunther as the Intercontinental champ. You got the Usos as the tag champ. I mean, there's a lot of heels on this show.
Yeah, but you got Bobby, Dana
Okay, yeah,
Brooke.
you do got Bobby. Come on, we don't count that. That's like counting the FTW title.
Ah. Well, speaking of people that shouldn't have any titles, Johnny Gargano was in the back being interviewed as Austin Theory interrupted him. And pretty much all that I got out of this was Johnny Gargano said he's going to be in the ring next week for the first time in 9 months.
Have you ever seen a Gargano match?
No.
Man,
He was as tall as
I
the
don't
interviewer,
hate.
Ryan.
I know. I'm just saying he did have one of my favorite matches in NXT. He can go in the ring. Sometimes when he's with the wrong opponent, it turns into like a special finisher kickout fest. Like if he's in the ring with Adam Cole or something. But man, he can go. He's not a bad wrestler, Michael. He's a really good wrestler.
I don't know,
I
man.
think you come around to him.
I'll watch his match with an open mind next week. But as of right
I don't.
now,
He's not very charismatic as a babyface.
and is he a better heel?
When he's more like a cowardly, snivelly, cocky type of heel, yeah, he can pull that off really well.
I don't know, man. Just something. My first impression of him was when we passed him at Starcast, and I think I was taller than him, and I was like, I don't know, I'm rocking with this. I don't buy the
Well,
hype.
hold up now. We were taller than a lot of guys there.
I mean,
Man, we walked past Brian Pillman Jr. We thought he was a fan.
no, he was taller than us. He just had
Yeah, but
sunglasses
he
on.
didn't stand out. He didn't stand out.
I mean,
Hey, Gargano, he can like his moveset isn't tailored to a heel style, so that'll be a disconnect if he ever does turn heel. But him as a babyface, man,
and
we'll see what they do.
are him and Theory going to fight at Extreme Rules? You think that's where they're going?
Man, I don't want to. It's too soon. You don't think it's too soon for that? Because you can't beat Gargano because he just got there. But Theory has literally lost all his pay-per-view matches since Money in the Bank.
I mean, that's true. But if you let Gargano win some matches up into Extreme Rules and then Theory cheats, well, if it's going to be at Extreme Rules, then it's kind of stupid that you can have a disqualification. But that's besides the point. If they don't have a no DQ match, you can have Theory cheat and win, and I think it will give Gargano an
Oh yeah,
excuse, have him come back and face him at Survivor Series, and then let Gargano
okay,
get his win.
okay, yeah. I mean, they have an out with the Money in the Bank contract.
Yeah.
So I mean, theoretically, you could have Theory lose a lot of matches and he can still cash in.
And
I just don't like when they make him look like a jabroni week in and week out.
I mean, I agree because we've talked about that. Now this week he did it to himself, but that's besides the point. But I mean,
Were you watching? Were you watching when Seth had the Money in the Bank contract?
yes,
He was losing so much, and then when he finally won the world title, bro, he couldn't win any match. Like he was losing, and then the only time he would win is the pay-per-views, and it was like, I mean, it was a lot of shenanigans. I just didn't like how they did that, and I don't like how they're treating Theory right now.
but it's the same thing they did with Dolph too. I mean, I didn't love it then either, but Dolph lost a lot as Money in the Bank champion, and then Money in the Bank champion, Money in the Bank holder, and then when like he would do that same thing where he would run down all the time, and then like Cena would hit him with an AA, and then he was just negated. And I was like, I was pissed as a kid because I'm a big Ziggler mark, but besides that, I think it's just how WWE does it. If you're a face Money in the Bank winner, you're gonna win all the time, and then you get your crowning achievement. And then if you're a heel, you're snivelly and a piece of garbage, and you lose all the time, and then you'll finally win the big one, which you would think would be the other way around.
But there isn't a lot of babyface that have held the Money in the Bank contract. The only one I can think of is RVD and Otis lost it.
And Cena,
Cena lost the match, didn't he? He didn't. He didn't have a good cash in.
really?
Yeah, remember he faced Punk on that 1000 episode.
Oh, you're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't win. It was
Well,
a DQ, and then Rock came out, and then Punk turned heel.
to be fair, how would you necessarily book a like it doesn't make sense for a good person, like a good morale person to cash in on somebody when they're at their lowest. It's more built for heels.
Yeah, but you think after 17 years they would do it more than twice
Yeah.
of having the Money in the Bank concept, but they really haven't.
It's also a good way for a guy to turn heel with the Money in the Bank if he gets it on a like a white hot champion and then he DQs him or something.
Yeah,
Was Kane face when he won and then he beat Ray in the same night?
I thought he was heel.
He may have been. I honestly was just asking because I don't remember.
He didn't hold it for but an hour though.
Yeah.
I'm talking about an actual guy to hold it for a while as a babyface. It really doesn't happen. And I particularly like when they have an underneath guy win the Money in the Bank, like a guy that hasn't been world champion. Like I never was a fan when they had Cena win it or they had
Brock.
Brock. Yeah, it just I don't know, man. Those guys can have title opportunities anytime they want. Them having it on Theory is a good move in my opinion because it's a guy that hasn't been at the mountaintop yet. So I always like when they did stuff like that.
I agree. I give you that. Well, anyways, we'll move on. We've spent too much time on
We've been on Raw. We've been on Raw. Wow.
Yeah, and it was not this good
Let's
of
get
a
away
show.
from Raw. No.
Priest and Mysterio fought. This was on the TV, but I was not on the in the room. I sound like Theory.
Yeah.
Rhea announced after the match that Dominic will face Edge next week, and Priest also picked up the win over Ray. Other than that, I just wasn't interested in watching this one.
Nah, I like Priest picked up a win though.
Yeah, it's just it's a 3-hour show. I'm skipping this one.
Yeah.
Bobby was cutting a promo in the back talking about that Miz thinks that he'll be safe in the cage away from Dexter Lumis, but in reality his biggest threat will be in there locked with him. Hey man, Bobby's got decent enough charisma. It's gotten better at least.
He does not look 45 years old though.
God no. Heck no. He looks like at least like 35, maybe late 30s, but he's freaking jacked.
He's jacked, and when you see, because I remember I ran across a clip on TikTok or something of Bobby Lashley in 06 on SmackDown. I'm like, man, he looked the same. Maybe a little less jacked, but he looks the exact same. Bald head, no facial hair, no eyebrows. He looks like the same guy.
Yeah, just a little veinier. That's about it. Like his forehead's just a
Yeah.
little bit wrinklier. That's a weird word to say. His forehead has more wrinkles. But other than that, like he's pretty much the same dude. Man, I remember in 2007, like the video games, he looked like a balloon, man. Like he was so jacked and everything was just like so weirdly
uh,
proportioned. But
ECW Bobby was a different animal, man.
that's when SmackDown versus Raw 2008 and it had Taker and Cena and Bobby on the cover. I was like, man, Bobby's going to be something. And poor Bobby never was anything until like 20 years later or 10.
I thought he was gonna be the next Batista, man. I really did.
He just, in all honesty, he just didn't have the charisma at the time. I think that now that he went away, he's picked up on it a little bit better. He still is better with a manager, but
Yeah,
it's not as bad. And he's a highlight of Raw at the moment for sure.
he was a beast in Impact, though, man. I know you weren't watching, but walking Armageddon Bobby Lashley was a monster in Impact. Him and Drew had some killer matches over there. Probably nobody saw them, but they were killer matches.
Well, I'll take your
And
word for it.
MVP was his manager. Yeah, MVP was his manager back then too.
I do remember him being there because I remember hearing like rumblings. I was like, oh, that's cool because the MVP's been kind of away for a while. But other than that, yeah, no, I wasn't watching Impact, and not
No,
many other
you
people
missed some
were.
good segments. No, I remember when MVP dropped the N word on Impact.
Oh,
That was pretty
no
funny.
way.
Yeah, I gotta send you that clip.
Hey, man, Roman did
It
too.
was pretty funny though.
Anyways, we had our main event. The Miz challenged Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship in a steel cage. Before the bell rung, the Miz grabbed the belt that the ref was holding up to show that it was for the match or for the belt for the match. My God, I can't. I say I can't get it together every show, but I think it's just a concurrent thing. He took the belt and beat Bobby down with it. He threw him to the outside through the door, and him and Ciampa started to beat Bobby down. They pinned his arm in like one of the little things that holds the cage down on the turnbuckle, and threw threw the stairs into it, and then hit him with a chair. And then we cut to commercial break. We come back, and they're in the ring, which I thought was kind of weird. I would have liked to see them throwing him back in, and then us go to commercial and then come back, but. Neither here nor there, I guess. The Miz focused on Bobby's left arm for most of the match, and then after a while, Bobby finally took control, willed himself to land some big power moves like a belly to belly, and he threw Miz into the cage face first. The Miz tried to escape a little later on, but Bobby met him at the top rope, drug him down, and he landed a superplex as both men actually sold it. Believe that. They got up. Bobby went for a spear, but Miz dodged it, reversing it into a skull-crushing finale. But it wasn't enough to put Bobby away. Also, I just want to say this while it's on my mind. Now that AEW does cage matches, I kind of notice how weird the rules are for WWE cage matches. And I'm not saying AEW does it perfect either, because like you can just go on the outside and that's it. Like I think you should be locked in. But the pins on the inside make so much more sense than trying to like escape it.
Yeah, but that's how it was in like the territories. It wasn't escape the cage to win. It was a pinfall.
Yeah.
I don't mind it particularly. I don't mind it in particular because I grew up on that WWE style rule, so I didn't think nothing of it. But yeah, it does make sense if there's a pinfall. Like escaping the cage is kind of a cop out finish.
Yeah. But anyways, the Miz began to try to escape the cage, and as he was at the top of the cage, Dexter Loomis crawled out of the apron or the bottom of the ring, but you didn't like see his arms or anything. All you saw
like a cardboard cutout
is the upper half of his body was just staring at the Miz, not moving or anything. So then
no emotion.
they shot it perfectly too, because they shot it from like a downward angle looking up at the Miz. You could see his face like, what? So then it pans down and you just see him laying on the floor. So then he runs back in. And Dexter actually gets up and starts staring at him as Miz is terrified. He turns around, Bobby hits him with a spear. 1, 2, 3. Bobby retains, which was the right move. Bobby's being built up good. Then after the fact, Dexter climbs the cage and gets in there, and Bobby walks through the door. And as the Miz is trying to come out the door too, Bobby just shuts it and holds it. And then Dexter locks in the straitjacket, and that's how we closed out Raw. Which is also how we would end up closing out SmackDown, but we'll get to that a little later.
That kind of a heel move by Bobby, just trapping his opponent in there with somebody that gave him PTSD, don't you think?
Nah, it's just.
That's kind of heel, man. That's kind of heel.
I mean, it would be heel, but not on the Miz.
Bro, kidnapped him a few weeks ago, and he gonna just trap him in there with him.
Hey, man. Bobby's a former police officer. He should have stepped in.
Hey, man, Miz is one of those guys that, like, when his career is all done, we're going to appreciate him a lot more because he does all the little things well.
Yeah. Like the facial expression
Like
I was talking about.
His facial expressions, his selling, he gets the crowd to react. Like, man, Miz is so good, but people take him for granted so much.
Yeah.
He's one of my top 10 all time, really. Like, I know it's kind of weird that both our top 10s have Miz and Dolph in it, respectfully. Like, nobody would think that those guys would be favorites. But, like, they do all the little things right, man.
Yeah. And, I mean, that was just the era. You came up on a little bit of a different era, but that was the one that I came up in. And Dolph was just that guy that I just was like, man, I want to see him do more. And then he finally reaches the top of the mountain, gets hurt, and then they never give him another shot. And, I mean, I know it's business, whatever, but I don't know, man. Just he was somebody I always liked. I always liked Shawn, and Dolph is kind of like Shawn Michaels when you think about it. But
and, you know, I was a big Rock guy, and then Miz is like really, really watered down Rock when you think about it.
Really, really watered down.
Well, I mean, he got the name, The Miz, The Rock. That's one thing right there.
Okay. What else?
All right. Well, they're both arrogant, cocky guys.
Okay. Hollywood stars.
Right. Hollywood Miz, Hollywood Rock. I mean,
okay.
Their entrances
sounded
similar when. Yeah, I'm just saying, man. You know, I particularly lean towards. You know, I was always a Miz guy. I don't know. I like Miz. I always like to see him do well. Him in the main event in 2022 though is wild.
Yeah.
I never would have thought in 2010 Miz would still be around and still be main eventing.
I mean, it's just one of them things. Both those guys have always been able to get themselves over and keep themselves relevant. So I don't hate it.
Yeah. But overall, this Raw was kind of right.
Ugh, buns. 6.6 for me.
Wow, I can't believe you went that high. I was thinking more, you know, a 5, but.
Well, you know.
I don't know if I can go up to a 6.
I'll give it a 6, actually. Okay. The Kevin Owens Austin Theory thing was good.
That was a good match.
Yeah, the match was good. The main event was good, but other than that, the Dominic stuff was okay, but it was the beginning of the show, and there were still 3 hours to go.
Yeah, a lot of filler.
So that's how everything was this week, man. Even on AEW.
Okay, well, I can give the guys over in WWE a break because they were overseas. So, I mean, probably they wanted to take it easy this week. You know, everybody flying back home. They're probably, you know, sleep schedules all messed up. So I can understand it for Raw. SmackDown, it just felt empty, you know? There wasn't a lot of... Without Roman, the show just feels empty.
Yeah. Well, that's just another reason they should have taken it off Drew. Or put it on Drew.
Well, we ain't got to go back on that. We don't have to go back on that. Overall, a 5 for this Raw. I'm giving it.
I give it a 5.5. You talked me down. I was trying to be generous.
Yeah, well, we ain't going to be generous for this one.
Anyways, that was Monday Night Raw. We'll move to AEW Dynamite. Can't say this
Do
one
we
was
have
much
to?
better.
Do we have to?
I don't know, man. Is there a show of the week? Is there? Can you really
Uh,
say any of these shows were worth watching?
uh, the Alabama Texas game. That was a show of the week for me.
Okay, I'm rocking with that.
I don't know, man. I didn't. It was a lot of angles this week. It wasn't a lot of good wrestling matches, really.
Yeah. And they're both coming off big pay-per-views, so I get it. But anyways, we'll open up Dynamite with Tony Khan. It was a package saying that the AEW World title and the Trios titles have been vacated. And there was no explanation on the TV of why. Now, I understand AEW has a big internet following, or a good portion of their fans are on the internet. And obviously, if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know it was the CM Punk, the Elite drama, the fights backstage, the arguing, whatever. But it was just kind of weird. He didn't really address, and I mean, he could have like just blanket statement after the events of the backstage altercation at All Out. CM Punk and the Elite have been stripped of their championships, and we will have tournaments and matches to determine. Like, you didn't have to go into detail, so I don't know. But overall, the AEW World Title is going to be having a tournament to determine its winner. And the first match would be revealed tonight, which was Hangman Adam Page versus Bryan Danielson. And then the trios titles are going to be decided tonight between not MJF. I'm looking at my notes, between the Death Triangle and the Best Friends. What did you think overall about like the fact that they didn't really address it, or the tournament?
It's become like comedy online where it's always a tournament in AEW. But I mean, they had to have one for this instance. The fact that they didn't address why the all the titles got vacated kind of bugged me a little bit. And weren't you telling me a story about like how your uncle texted you or something?
Yeah, my uncle texted
How he
me.
was confused.
He was like, "What the crap? What just happened?" And I was like, "You didn't know? No." So then it's confusing for somebody to just turn on the channel and then wonder even where like CM Punk is, or the Bucks, or Kenny. And I'm sure everybody's gonna rip apart on like, well, you can look it up. You have a phone right in your hand. It only takes 30 seconds. But like, if somebody's tuning in to just watch it like casually, somebody's flipping the channels. Oh, what's this? This is AEW. Oh, it's kind of like WWE. Oh, okay, I'll tune in and watch it. And you see, world champion has been stripped of the title. It's just a little odd.
Yeah, like you don't tune in to Game of Thrones and then something happens on the internet and then you have to go look it up. No, you want it to happen on the show and you want them to explain what happened on the show.
Yeah.
You don't want to you don't, I mean, it just doesn't happen in any other medium, Michael. Michael.
Oh, wow. I see. Nah, but
We just can't get right tonight, man.
it's one of them days. Neither can Dak Prescott. I just got a notification he's hurt.
Yeah, he got Cooper Rush in now. I got Cooper Rush in.
Who?
He doing Cooper Rush is terrible, man. He overthrew a wide open receiver.
Yeah, I'm probably finna lose.
Oh yeah, you done.
If Cortland
You
Sutton
done.
scores 9 for me tomorrow, I'll be all right. So we can hope and pray. But
I don't know,
anyways,
man.
I mean, it is what it is. News broke too that Punk, not only due to the actions, was stripped, but he is going to be out for around 8 to 9 months with a torn
Dang.
pec, I think.
I thought it was a tricep.
Maybe it is a tricep. I knew it was something to do with upper arm, or shoulder area, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I hope he gets better. Whether we see him again or not is to be determined. At the end of the day, I hope all this can be patched up between all of them, but I don't know.
Well,
It's gonna
CM
get
Punk
there.
did say, yeah, CM Punk said we're past apologies. So I don't know if we're gonna get any patchwork on this one, Michael.
Well, They patched it up with MJF, so we'll see.
Oh, okay.
And
All
speaking
right.
of, he was in the ring next,
Mm,
and this Buffalo crowd
mm.
was hot for him. He
I
addressed,
was too.
yeah, hey man, it's just one of them things. We got MJF was gone and Punk was gone. We got Christian Cage. Christian Cage and Punk are gone. Now we get MJF. We can't have all three of them at their peak at one time. It's just too much to ask.
This show is snake bitten.
Anyways, he was addressing that promo that he had in June. He was like, maybe I said some things that I shouldn't have said. Maybe it was a little offensive, and the crowd was eating it up, and he was playing like a face. And he was like, I'm not in the world title tournament because I have a shot whenever I want it. And I feel like the ace of this company, I feel like this company needs me to be that champion. So when I'm ready, I'll give it a shot. And he came out in a Josh Allen jersey. They were in Buffalo. And he said, despite popular belief, we're not in dark times here, ladies and gentlemen. There might be a lot going on, but I'm here. And he says, there was a great man who led people, and his name was Moses. Now, I'm not
Oh
saying that
boy.
I'm Moses, and I'm not saying this right now. This is a quote.
Oh boy. I'm about to
MJF
say,
said that he was better than Moses. Now, you can,
crowd cheered. And crowd was hot.
yeah, you can take that how you want it. I didn't, it was a little tasteless, but it's just,
I don't like when they bring religion into stuff, man. Just leave that alone.
it's a slippery slope, man. Like, it may not offend
No
some
reason to.
people, but it's gonna offend other people. And I was like, I just didn't know.
There was no reason to bring it up. He had the crowd in the palm of his hands. He didn't have the result of that. I didn't particularly like
I didn't really care for it either, but someone else didn't care for it, and his name was John Moxley, and he came
it.
out
Oh man.
and he was pissed.
Well, wouldn't you be if you had to put off your vacation?
Maybe. My man put in the PTO. Hey, you come in. We're kind of behind. Well, he came out and he says you're full of crap. And so then MJF's like, you really think I'm out here lying to these good people of Buffalo, New York? These grotesque, filthy animals. And he rips the Bills jersey off and he wipes his tail with it and he throws it down. And MJF is back. And he's a heel, which I was kind of scared for a minute because they can play into him being a face, but MJF as a heel is obviously the best way to go, and they don't really have a clear-cut great heel right now, so this is where they need to go. He said he maybe doesn't need the AEW title. Maybe he'll take that title to a real wrestling company, like where his friend, the American roller coaster Cody Rhodes went. Connecticut. He said he wants to work for a real con. He wants to go where things are
mm,
best for business, like his role model, the game, said.
mm.
I'm sure you ate that
How did
up.
you like that? How'd you like that, man?
I thought it was
Do you
funny.
like when they mention WWE?
It don't bother me.
You don't think it makes it a little low budget that they keep on mentioning WWE?
It's fine in a sense to me where it's like you what like if they mention that you might have done this in this company but you're not going to do this in AEW, or like Punk said about you were the third best member in your own group and now you're here and that seems to be a trending topic, like that's fine. I can see why this damages your product because then it seems like, well, now you're telling everybody that you want to go to WWE. I wonder why he wants to go to WWE. Like, it seems like a superior brand.
But you know, Micah, if he does go to WWE when his contract's up, that makes it look like, dang, man, you aired that on your television, like you just telling the truth the whole time. I I think there's like less to gain from just mentioning WWE like that.
I think it can work, but I think Tony would be dumb if he didn't get him for an extension before he came back.
You think you think he re-signed him?
I don't know. I'm just saying he definitely should have if he didn't.
I think that would be a dumb move by re-signing so early, because you could just, when his contract is up, Micah, he could go and put out feelers for WWE and then report back to Tony and make him match that offer. He can put Tony over the barrel with this WWE stuff,
Well, he ought to.
because he can't technically talk. He can't talk to them technically at the moment. So it would make more sense, like when his contract's up, just as a smart businessman, going to talk to the opposition.
Well, at the end of the day, with Punk out at least 8 to 9 months, regardless of all the crap, and if Punk never comes back, then MJF is their number one minute-by-minute draw. He's your best young star, and in all honesty,
it ain't even close.
No,
it really ain't even close. Like the second, who's the second? Would it be Wardlow?
Yeah, I would say.
But they treated Wardlow terribly.
Well, we'll get there, but my only thing is MJF is what, 26 or 27?
I think it's 26.
Okay. If you can, MJF needs to be your Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. I know Bret Hart ended sour, but your leader of the new generation or leader of AEW. I know he's young, but you literally don't have anybody else. I don't care what anybody on the internet says, but well, Moxley, ooh, John
Moxley's a big star. Come on.
No.
He's a big star.
He's a big star. That don't mean I want to see him on my TV show. Everybody was how do I put this?
Dang, man. You just hate Moxley.
No, but everybody just rides him. Like they cult follow him, and I don't get it. Like people online, let me run this down and then I'll say this because this correlates with what happened. Mox told MJF to leave or he's not going to like what happens. MJF bows up, but then he eventually leaves, which I thought was kind of awkward. I thought something else was going to happen. Mox says that he's pissed and embarrassed, mainly because he's not the champion of this company, but he runs down what the AEW World Championship means to everybody in the back and what it means to the fans. Mox says he was supposed to be on vacation, but when duty calls, he answers. He says winners want the ball when the game is on the line, but he's going to take the ball for himself because he is the ace and the heart and soul or whatever he wants to call himself. Everybody online was like, Moxley just cut this amazing, this is a legendary promo that will go down forever. Like, this is one of the best promos in AEW. Stop it. This was not that good. Like, this was an okay Mox promo. Not better than anything MJF's ever done, and it wasn't better than what MJF just did 5 minutes previous.
I think it was probably Mox's best promo in AEW.
That's like
when you put, I mean, come on. Maybe when you look at it like after all the backstage shenanigans, they needed somebody to speak up and just reassure the AEW fans everything's going to be all right. So, I mean, maybe when you look at it that way, I can see why people were creaming themselves online about it. But yeah, man, it was a decent promo.
It was mid.
It was good.
I don't know. It was here.
You just soured on the whole show when Punk went down, man.
I'm not going to deny the facts presented before the court, but
man, bro, you sent me a text saying I hope Adam Page breaks his leg or something.
Like, That's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Tell us how you really feel.
You don't have proof of that. No, I really don't wish Adam Page any injury.
Oh, of course. This is Phil Brooks. He can stay gone.
Man, get out of here. I was glad Adam Page lost. I hope Adam Page never wins another match on AEW television again. Hey, put him against Pockets. That'll get me the one time to root for Orange Cassidy.
Come on. Orange Cassidy.
Matter of fact, now that Punk's gone, let's just take all the realism out of the show. I want to see Danhausen fighting Bryan Danielson.
Man. Get out of here. Stop that. You would be doing the show alone if that happens. You know what? I saw something the other day that Adam Page and Kenny Omega had a higher buy rate on their pay-per-view main event than old CM Punk and Jon Moxley did. What do you think about that, Micah?
Well,
I mean,
your buy rate might be a little better if you don't give it away on free television 2 weeks previous and then get him squashed, and then he's magically going to be healed in 2 weeks. But that's neither here nor there. I don't think that's Punk and Moxley's fault. I think that's Tony Khan and his booking.
Especially when you announce it a week out.
Yeah. Why, like, Dana White announces these pay-per-views literally like 6 months in advance. Hey everybody, tomorrow night we're gonna have our 2 biggest stars fight. Pay $60 for it right now, because everybody's got $60 laying around just all the time.
Well, you know, in professional wrestling, you can't really announce the main event that far in advance.
Obviously not, but I'm saying they don't have pay-per-views, but every like 3-4 months. It's a 3 to 4 month span. My God, you could at least get it out there before a month, or even you don't have to say this match is confirmed, but you can let the people know, hey, this is probably going to happen at All Out. But Punk returned, then had a 1 week promo, which is when all the Page stuff happened. Or he returned. Next week, all the promo stuff happened. The next week, he fought Moxley. The next week was the promo with Ace Steel. Then it was All Out. And up until the Wednesday before All Out, we didn't know that was the main event. Why?
Yeah, it did sound ridiculous. I thought they were going in a completely different direction until a week out.
Punk and MJF started feuding in like December. They had a match in like early February or late January, the first one. But the finish let you know there was going to be a second one because MJF screwed Punk. Moxley squashed him and his foot was jacked up. So, yes, that obviously makes me think he's going to be ready to go in 2 weeks. Get out of here, man. Anyways.
And he wasn't ready to go.
Well, for the vacated World Trios title, we had Death Triangle versus the Best Friends.
I was ready to go. Ready to leave. Get out of the room when this match came on.
It was here.
There's a lot of flip-flops. A lot of flippy dive stuff. You know, I mean, it's what you expect with a match with a 6-way cluster like this. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. Death Triangle won. That was surprising. I thought the Best Friends were surely going to get their first championships, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Oh, Adrian Neville is a double champion in AEW.
Tupac.
Yeah. What you think of that?
I'm all right with it. I don't think it could happen to somebody. I don't want to say a better guy, but he's somebody I think that deserves it. Like, he's not a guy who's you're like, I don't think he should have that title. Like, he's somebody who has been there for a while and put on good matches.
He was one of the originals.
Yeah. So, I don't hate it. I'm glad Orange Cassidy ain't got no belt.
That's true. But Pac, he got to chill with that. when he's on the top rope and he takes 30 minutes to perform a move. I don't like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
That always takes me out of it.
it's the trios matches, man. That's the Young Bucksification of AEW. That's why we don't need them.
Can we talk about how Tony Schiavone is the worst commentator in wrestling?
This is great,
I didn't
guys.
get a chance to say it last segment. Yo, man. Oh, this is great, you guys. In the middle of the promo, appreciate it, Tony. Thanks for telling us that. Thanks for chiming in on that. I hate Tony Schiavone so much, man. You don't know how much I hate this guy.
We should get him on the pod just to add like third-party commentary to just be like, "This is great, guys."
Bro, he just sounds like how they had commentators sounding like SmackDown versus Raw in like 07 or something. Like they don't add anything to the match. It's just the same 12 sound bites every single match.
Have like cue cards holding up, telling them what to say.
I hate Tony Schiavone so much, man.
It is what it is, I guess. But I mean, I see the appeal because it's like, oh, it's Tony Schiavone from WCW. That's cool. But then you actually hear him talk. Ooh. JR was not here either. That was kind of odd.
The whole show?
Yeah.
The whole show he wasn't there? Oh, I didn't even notice.
Hey, man, we're one step closer to Tony being a permanent interviewer and JR being a general manager.
Bro, just put Caprice Coleman on the commentary
Oh,
team.
man, he's
Jesus
great.
Christ. It's not that hard. Yeah. Put him there. He's there. Put him on the commentary team.
No, we have to separate Ring of Honor and AEW, even though Tony Khan buys both and the titles are defended on AEW because Ring of Honor has no TV deal.
What are they? They're just going to hold out until the next TV negotiations to get Ring of Honor a deal? Is that what this is?
I guess.
Bro, that's in 2024.
I don't know, man. He keeps saying it's coming, but
no, it's not. It's not.
The boy who cried wolf.
We'll see it when we believe it.
Yeah. Speaking of, we had the comic book shop owners. I'm sorry, the Dark Order was in the back, talking about their injuries rendering them unable to compete for the trios titles tonight. As Jose interrupts and talk about a group of people that should never touch a microphone. The entire segment. Oh my God. Evil Uno sounds like he owns a comic book store. Alex Reynolds is a mute. John Silver speaks in catchphrases or sounds like he has humor from 2010. And then Ken is also a mute.
Where's Colt?
Oh, man. Probably asking his mom asking his mom for gas money to the show. He ain't made it yet.
He undefeated overseas, man. He might be challenging Pac next.
Oh, God. Dang, I bet that'll be a barn burner. Anyways, Jose interrupted asking for 10 services through money from Andrade. He was like, it was so awkward, man. He was like, Andrade sent me with this money and he wants you. And then Evil Uno like grabbed his collar. These guys aren't for sale. And then Andrade and Roosh walk up and John Silver, you want to fight? You want to fight Johnny Hungy? Who is this catering to? This is not funny.
Oh, yeah.
This is not funny. Like, who likes this?
Hey, man, the 100,000 people that watch Being the Elite like it, I would assume. This is the kind of stuff that's on Being the Elite, man. Have you ever watched a show of Being the Elite?
No.
This is their comedy. It's exactly their comedy. We can tell who's writing this stuff.
Well, I'm ready for all Punk wrestling next.
Hey, Control Your Narrative is looking for a new
That's real funny. Can you imagine?
You know what? In 2022, man, that would not be the wildest story.
No, it really wouldn't. That's the crazy part, man. Well, next up, we had...
Oh, God.
You don't even know what I'm about to say.
Oh, I already know what it is. I know it.
They've got this weird thing where every match for the interim champions is like an interim championship qualification match or something. Because I did the same thing with
Eliminator.
Moxley, and it never led to anything.
They call it an eliminator match. What does that even mean?
Is it saying that like the winner becomes the one to like becomes the? Are they saying it's for the interim championship, and then it's like a contenders match against Thunder Rosa? Is that what they're implying? Because
maybe I skipped a week where they explained the eliminator
no,
concept, but
you did not.
I don't know.
Because if you did, I did, and we normally don't skip the same things.
I don't know. Maybe I did, man. I remember when I was in grade school, I skipped one class where they were going over like the differences between their THEIR and their THERE, and I still don't know the difference between that.
Oh,
So maybe they did explain it, man.
come on, Ryan.
I don't know, man. Hey, man, I'm just being honest, man. I still don't know the difference.
Look, if it's got an I, it's possessive.
Yeah. Who possesses what?
It's like, I'm saying, if
mean?
it's TH. Man, I'm having grammar class on the Scoop Slam podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, there,
yeah,
and there.
Uh-huh.
We're going to go with the first one, THEIR.
Yeah.
Or is it the other? Anyways, you get the one I'm talking about. The one with the I is possessive, meaning that somebody, that is theirs. They possess that.
Oh, okay,
yes.
okay.
So think of it. You see an I,
and then if
something
they're
like I on
if they're
that.
over there, but if they're over there, that's THERE, right?
Yes, and then
there,
which is they are, which is a contraction.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, I got that one.
The other one is possessive, one is a location. And this has been scooping grammar, ladies and gentlemen. Scoop slamming grammar.
Hey, man, I just let the spell check handle me when I gotta type it out.
Anyways, all of that was probably more entertaining than Penelope Ford versus Toni Storm. Toni Storm wins.
Bro, we had Boxhead come out with Penelope, didn't we?
He did. He was there.
Bro, what? They brought this man back with all the hoopla, and then they did nothing with him after 2 weeks, except be a manager to his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Isn't he one of the pillars that they like to talk about?
No.
Is he the forgotten pillar?
No. It was Darby, Sammy, MJF, and
Jungle Jack.
Jungle Jim. No.
Kip Sabian.
I've never heard anything that he was just some like stunning.
He won the first match on Dynamite.
Oh, really? Who was he fighting? Brandon Cutler?
I think it was Sammy Guevara.
Oh my God, no.
I think it was.
I don't know, man. He looks better now than he used to. Like he's got a different look, but is this really what this was all for?
He's still 5'5", though.
Oh man,
he's still 5'5".
You got a point.
Penelope was taller than him.
Well, we'll see where it goes. I'll tell you where I went during.
I didn't watch this match.
The bathroom.
Yeah, I did. I was not. I was not here for this.
Well, we'll move on. The Acclaim was coming out next, and as Max began to rap, Swerve's music interrupted them. Instant heat.
Oh man! So we can rap about Vince McMahon stepping down and about Simone Biles, but we can't talk about the media scrum. That's off limits. Come on, man. That seemed kind of cheap.
I mean, I agree. I really wanted to hear what he had to say, but I guess it is what it is. Swerve got heat off of it, though.
Oh, yeah. I was about to hit the ring, but...
Anyways, he said, that he was sorry for interrupting these corny wannabe rappers. He says that all Max does is he's just got jokes and he thinks he's, the hottest thing since John Cena, but he's not. That's not what he actually said, but I'm paraphrasing here.
Oh, I'm about to say, did he say
No,
that?
he said, you think you're like better than sliced bread or whatever, but he said that,
think that you think that was a little subtle shot to old Hit Row on the other side?
I mean, you said it a few weeks ago. I bet Swerve's jealous. I don't think Swerve is jealous.
And now that I've seen him the last couple of weeks, okay, I take it back.
Man, that atrocious. They like
But let's not act like he's doing gangbusters with old Keith Lee.
no, but he could be. Man, they were in an 8-man,
Oh,
an 8-man
yeah, but
tag.
you heard how Keith Lee talks?
He ain't got to
Oh,
talk
social media is
beneath me.
I don't even pay it no mind. Even though you have a Twitter, man, you have an Instagram. What are you talking about?
He doesn't read
He
into
has all
the
that.
criticism.
Oh God.
Well, anyways, Swerve said that he had a funny joke of the Acclaimed as tag team champions, and then Billy Gunn interrupted him saying that it's not Swerve's house, it's his house. And he says that the Acclaimed will take the titles in 2 weeks at AW Dynamite Grand Slam. I still like
Billy,
it
man.
blows my mind. Billy gets the biggest reactions on this
I was
show.
about to say that. Billy, man. Who thought 2022 Billy Gunn be one of the most over guys on Dynamite?
Hey man, them lunches are working for him. I give him props.
Yeah, man, he's what, 56, 57?
Something like that.
He looks good, man. I wouldn't have mind, putting old Billy in the tournament.
In the world title tournament.
Yeah, have him and Sting as like their own little legends block.
Oh my god.
And, hey man, Sting ain't lost either.
Hey, Sting's 11-0. Come on now.
Sting, how they gonna have a tournament of champions and not have Sting in it? Sting has literally won. How many world championships Sting won? Multiple across multiple companies.
Yeah.
Why is he not there? He's undefeated.
I don't know, man. They do use Sting in the right way. I'm not gonna say that, but also like, I, I don't know. I know he's old, but like, also, he is a world champion, and I mean, if Sammy
They
Guevara
could.
fought Sting, it would get Sammy over if he beat him.
You know what? I think they could. They could build a pay-per-view match with Sting as a world championship contender. They could do big business with just a one-off match like that. You telling me that Sting couldn't main event at least one pay-per-view? He doesn't even have to win. Just tell the story of the old guy one last chance at redemption. They could make big money off that.
That or him and Darby being tag champs, I wouldn't hate that.
Or him and like if MJF does come out on top with all this, MJF and Sting as a pay-per-view one-off, getting MJF the rub by beating Sting. Well, what's wrong with
I
that?
wouldn't hate it.
It doesn't have to be a great match, man. It's about the story. They can tell a good story like that.
Yeah, and remember we were there when MJF said that to Sting about Lex Luger.
Oh yeah, he was foul for that.
It was foul, but I mean, it got heat. But
It was
I
funny.
don't know, man. Obviously, like they are using Sting right. I'm not gonna say that, but I guess the fan in me would like to see Sting just have like one more main event, just to
Just one
yeah,
more.
just to say he got one last world title match. He's 11-0.
And give old Billy Gunn a shot too.
Yeah, he's bigger than half the roster. Anyways, we'll move on.
Hey man.
Speaking of old timers, Jericho was in the back talking about
Oh God.
how Ponce de Leon couldn't find the fountain of youth, but Corazon de Leon did, and he's drinking it all in, and which I thought was pretty funny. But he tried to he tried to pass something on. and it just did not click with me. He was like, Tony, you should start calling me the BWE or BW. Do you remember what he said? It was something like
Nah, I don't remember. I remember this.
BSEC, maybe like best sports entertainer ever. I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds right. I remember the segment being really funny though.
It was
And
funny,
did you
but
did you did you notice how Jericho like kind of spoiled the Danielson match?
yeah, because he said, "When I see you next week, Danielson."
Was that a live promo? Do they do live promos?
Couldn't have been because Tony was back there.
So how did they air that then? Was that purposeful, or did somebody just miss that?
They probably just didn't catch it, or you could easily play it off that like he expected Danielson to beat Adam Page. So then he was
That
like,
kind
I'll
of
see
buries
you
Adam
next
Page
week.
though, right?
Well, good.
Oh, come on, man.
I mean, I see your point. It wasn't like glaringly obvious to me, but maybe just somebody didn't catch it.
I like how Sammy called out Darby about being like looking very similar to the Turtle Kid. I thought
They've
that
done
was
that
pretty funny.
before, haven't they? Somebody else said that to him.
Yeah, I think they have. I forget who said it though, but yeah, I think it was Ricky Starks actually.
Yeah, yes, it was. It was Ricky. Because they had that, I think that might have been Sting's first match because it was like a cinematic match. Was it?
I forgot all about that.
Yeah, because it was Ricky and Hobbs versus Sting and
They had it in the
Darby.
warehouse, didn't they?
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was cool to see Sting, and I was like, well, if they can make him have these cinematic matches, and now he's freaking jumping off tables and all that, so you know,
Give him a world title run, man. I'm telling you.
Sting that dude. But yeah, Jericho was saying that when he wins this world title, nobody's going to take it from him. He says, "This is my locker room, and nobody's going to take it from me," which I thought was obviously a shot at Punk. And he
That was
mentions
funny.
that about Sammy's match on Friday, which was for the world title tournament against Darby, and Daniel Garcia's match tonight, and that they will all be successful because the JAS cannot be stopped.
Good little segment.
Yeah, Jericho has been way more tolerable recently.
Yeah, he's cut down on all the stupid comedy stuff. I mean, he still has some comedy in his promos, but it just works better. I don't know.
Yeah. Well. Next up, we have the only job guy that AEW has, Tony Nese versus Wardlow for the TNT title. Can they not find anybody else?
Hey man, Nice is apparently on a winning streak on Dark and Elevation. You saw his win-loss record?
I did see that it was like, what was it, 30 and or 20 and something?
Yeah. Like Jesus Christ, Tony Nese don't lose, man. But then when we see him, he always loses.
I don't think he's won a TV match yet, like in all honesty. So, I mean,
if he did, we missed it.
Yeah, I mean, good for him, I guess, if he's getting reps, but I don't know, can you not pull up somebody else from Dark and let Wardlow beat him? Like, we've already ran through this feud, and Tony Nese gets beaten like a drum.
Yeah, where's Sean Spears been?
That's a good
He couldn't
question.
beat Sean Spears or something?
Well, we kind of ran through that, too. I don't know, I wondered if he was going to come back with MJF, but I guess he's rotting away at home. Well.
He's paid. I'm sure he's getting paid.
Oh.
I'm sure he's getting paid to sit at home.
Yeah. Anyways, speaking of getting paid to sit at home, I guess we'll touch on this now. Malachi Black apparently is gone, conditionally released or something like that, which I think means he's just getting paid to sit at the house.
Yeah, basically it's a no-compete clause, so he can't go and show up for WWE anytime soon.
So now what for Brody and Buddy and Julia?
I don't know. Man, I guess you repackage Buddy because, I mean, he really didn't do much in the House of Black. He really didn't have no promo time. You could repackage him, but he doesn't strike me as Mr. Personality.
No, he needs to come out there like
Julia.
in triple jean jackets and a water bottle.
Could you imagine? He just like went full cosplay of Triple H.
Oh,
They did that. They did that in Impact with Shark Boy.
Oh, yeah, they did. Great gimmick, though.
Hey, you notice that Wardlow had his old theme song back?
Yeah. I didn't catch it until you texted me about it, but I enjoy it because that one was way better than his new one.
Yeah, it's the better theme.
Yeah. And it got over.
I think it did. They're probably struggling to find his new song, so they just played the old one. Because when he first like showed them backstage, there was no music or anything.
Yeah. I mean, maybe they'll keep it. It just goes better with the Wardlow
Yeah.
chant too. Like, I don't know, the other one just something about it. But regardless, he beat Tony, I don't even know it.
Tony Nuts. Tony Nuts.
Oh
A
man.
lot of Tonys on this show. A lot of Tonys.
Yeah.
Shivani, Tony Khan, Tony Nese.
Tony Storm.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Storm. A lot of Tonys, a lot of Pages,
Cages.
a lot of Adams.
Yeah. Just nobody's inventive these days.
No.
Anyways,
He beat him.
yeah.
He beat him, and then he was mad that everybody just kept on saying he's lost momentum, which he has.
Yeah. Not doubting that. But, I mean, I liked it because it kind of reinvigorated people into him, I feel like. Or it's a start of that, at least.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with him next week.
So, next up, we had probably what should have been the main event for the AEW World Championship Tournament. Bryan Danielson versus Adam Page.
Really
we
good
started
match.
out... Oh, yeah. We started with some solid back-and-forth mat wrestling, neither really taking any control. Danielson ended up landing some kicks in the corner, but Page would rebound and landed a clothesline to send Danielson to the outside. Page met him as Danielson wrenched his arm and threw his shoulder into the turnbuckle pole, and then from then on out, he was focused on it for majority of the match. Let me tell you something that I heard the other day, and it ruined. It didn't ruin anything, but it changed my mind, and maybe I'm an idiot, and you've known this. Do you know that when wrestlers get something targeted on them, it's always their left side?
I've never really noticed.
Now you'll never be able to unsee it because apparently, I don't know what I was watching. Maybe it's a TikTok, like things about wrestling you don't know or whatever. But apparently in training school, you're taught to always sell your left side. That way the person wrestling, like you'll never forget what side. You always just sell your left.
Wow.
Doesn't that make
Is there like
so
a
much
reason?
sense?
Is there like a reason though?
It's just so you don't forget what side to be selling, like in the middle of a match. If you're like, oh yeah, he hurt my arm earlier. Was it my right or my left? You're like, oh, it's always my left.
Now that you pointed out, okay, yeah, I'm starting to think back. Yeah, they always do sell the left. I did notice
Like think
a
about the
while
Bobby
back.
Miz match.
They sell the left, yeah. I did notice a while back that Cornette. I was listening to Cornette's podcast, and he pointed out that you never see anybody use their left hand when they like pick somebody up for a scoop slam. And like even if they're left-handed, they still go with the right hand to pick them up for a scoop slam.
I wonder why. I wonder why that is.
I don't know. It's just always trained in the wrestlers and the training school. I don't know either, man. It's pretty interesting though when you like get a peek behind the curtain about stuff you never really noticed.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's just crazy. Like, I guess the things they know that we don't, and then it never correlates on TV. 'Cause, like, obviously it's not supposed to, but it's just the magician never reveals his tricks, but you always wonder.
Yeah.
But, anyways, Page finally regained his momentum and met Danielson on the top rope as he landed a Spanish fly off the top to send us to a commercial break. As we came back, both men are face to face and exchanging blows back and forth. Hangman took control, and landed a sit-out powerbomb, but Danielson managed to kick out of it. Danielson hung Page in the Tree of Woe, landed the sliding kick, and climbed up to the top to land a German off. But Page reversed, I think he like flipped off of it or whatever. But Danielson ended up locking in the label lock, and Page clawed his way out of it. Danielson then went for I'm going to mispronounce this. Is it the Busaiku knee? That's what
Yeah.
Excalibur keeps calling it. Okay.
Yeah.
I guess, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know move names. I can tell you what they look like.
I just knew it as the running knee in WWE. They never called it that.
Well, Excalibur knows all the
and
insider terms.
Then again, Michael Cole really, he wasn't allowed to say names of any moves. I remember he used to call like a belly-to-belly suplex. He just always say, "Oh, what a throw!" Like, bro, what do you know? That was a belly-to-belly suplex. Just call it that.
Well, anyways, hey, Michael Cole's been better recently. I give him his props now.
Most definitely, especially when he revealed to us that he's a indie mark for 2011 wrestling.
Yeah, just randomly threw in that about Asuka and Io Sky about Stardom
and El Generico stuff.
Hey man, Michael Cole, that dude.
Yeah.
But as Danielson went for the Busaiku knee, Page landed the Deadeye, but it wasn't enough to put Danielson away. He went up to the top for the moonsault, but Danielson dodged it, got up, landed the Busaiku knee. They then spilled to the outside as Page did that awful moonsault without checking if the guy's behind him. He then threw Danielson in and went for the buckshot lariat, but Danielson rolled him up and did the kind of, I guess it's like a handspring. I don't really know what to call it, but he basically falls back on him, or falls back on his hands, and he picked up the win here to advance in the tournament. I really, really hope that Danielson wins the tournament, but I also don't want Danielson to win it for 2 weeks and then lose it to MJF.
I think Moxley's going to win this, and then he loses to MJF. I really do. I mean, just think they were planting seeds of it at the beginning of the show with Moxley coming out and interrupting MJF. And Moxley was supposed to go on vacation anyway, so he could theoretically get beat by MJF and just be gone.
Yeah, but oh my God, I'm so sick of him. Like, I'm so overexposed to Moxley, man.
Well, man,
I don't know. How can I miss you if you don't go away?
He's about to go. He's about to go on vacation. If Punk would have did the right thing and not took all the shine away from MJF and not called out poor old Cole Cabana on the media scrum, we wouldn't need Moxley. Moxley would have been gone for months. Blame your man Phil.
Hey, don't get hot about it now.
Well, I'm getting hot about it. It's Phil's fault.
It's not.
It's his fault.
It's not. It's Colt's fault. He shouldn't have had a bank account with his mom.
Oh, well, Tony Khan, grown man, sharing one with his dad.
His dad's a billionaire.
Oh, so there's a difference.
Yeah. His dad gave him an allowance.
Oh, and paid for Punk.
Yeah.
Jesus. Hypocrite. Fickle.
Tony's just sitting there.
He's just nodding. Just nodding while he's dogging his former number one baby face, Adam Page, just nodding along. Like he agrees with everything Punk's saying.
Man, don't act like Page was ever treated as a number one baby face.
Well, he was when he faced Omega that first time.
Yeah, and then what? Then what?
Well, I remember but you remember that one time where you remember that? Look, man, Paige, he didn't deserve to be called out like that, man.
Ah, man,
we gotta blame regardless. Tony Khan's booking too. Come on.
Yes, that's a part of it. Also, I'm glad Danielson won. Should have been stiffer with him. Nah, I'm just playing. Moving on, Jungle Boy was in the back talking about how Christian and Luchasaurus, what they did to him at All Out, saying that it was funny Luchasaurus carried him to the ring for these past few years when he's been carrying Luchasaurus himself. He got fired up, saying he was glad that the anchors of his past are gone and it's time for him to burn the past away and move into a new era of himself. I think it's cool they're calling him Jack Perry. I really thought he would end up turning heel rather than Luchasaurus, but I mean, I don't mind it. I absolutely hate that news broke this week that Christian has a torn tricep as well as Punk, and he will be out for 8
Jesus,
to 9 months.
that ruins the
So,
story.
yeah,
Like, how can you keep this going without Christian?
I think they're just going to move on and then come back to it when he comes back. It just really, really sucks.
Yeah. So basically, Christian beat Jungle Boy, and he has to live with that for 8 months. And what do you do with Luchasaurus now? Do you put him on ice too?
I don't know. Put him against Wardlow. But then, no, because then you squash him.
Yeah, there's really not much you can do. I mean, could you have Christian come out and manage him?
I think it just depends on how much time Christian needs away. Because, like, if Christian's going to have to sit there and do physical therapy, then...
No, come on, man. Come on. It's one night a week. You tell me he can't fly out one night a week?
I think it depends, though. Because, yes, it's one night a week, but where are they going to be at? How far is he going to have to be on a plane?
Nah. Steve Austin came out every single week when he had a broken neck and stayed relevant on the TV show. I don't want to hear that. Christian Cage can come out with a torn tricep. He can put his arm in a sling. Did Steve Austin go home in 97, Micah, when he broke his neck? No, he didn't. He showed up the next night on Raw and the week after. They found something for him to do on the show. Didn't matter if he was hurt.
Well, I mean, when you make a point like that.
I'm just saying, I mean, didn't make much sense to me. And Jungle Boy sounded... It just wasn't doing it for me in this promo package.
I mean, I thought it was good. What did you not like about it?
It just didn't sound... It sounded like he was reading cue cards, man. I don't know. It didn't sound like he actually meant what he was saying.
I don't know, man. I think this is just the best that we're going to... Well, I say that. Oh. He's young, but
MJF...
I would rather...
MJF is... I mean, he's young, too. Everything he says, it sounds like he means.
Yeah. But also MJF is like a generational talent. Like one of the best young stars today and is not rivaled by almost anybody. So, like, I don't know, man. I would rather them do this than send them out there live.
Okay. Yeah. Agree on that.
So I'll take that. I just feel like this is Jungle Boy's best. This is what we're going to get from him. Until maybe he learns a little more, gets a little more polished. The pre-tapes are the way to go. For me personally.
Okay, yeah. I guess. He's got a long way to go, though.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no, but I don't know, man. We'll move on, but
yeah,
it was okay to me. But we moved from okay to
what the heck? That's what we move on to.
Stokely came out with his goons, which is W. Morrissey, the Guns, Ethan Page. Is there another one I'm missing? Or Lee Moriarty. And
he's in that group.
Yeah, he had like pink hair or something here.
Oh, I thought that was Captain Sean Dean, man.
No.
They all look alike.
Oh no, oh man. You can say that. I can't, but you can say that. Anyways, one of the cameramen tried to tell Stokely that they were low on time, and Stokely then like grabs him by the collar and says he needs to give him the same respect that he gives his father when Stokely's on the mic. And then the goons, pronouns. Stokely tells the cameraman that the cameraman needs to give the same respect that he gives the cameraman's father when he's on the mic. That's really confusing to say out loud, but then the goons just beat him down. It was weird and clunky. It's as clunky as me trying to explain that right there, and it was like a minute.
And Stokely didn't mention MJF.
That
Commentators
too.
did. The commentators did, but Stokely did not. It's like they moving in a different direction with this group. Which probably plans did get changed last minute because of Punk. But I don't know, man. Just completely dropping it after one night together.
They should have at least made some mention of it. Maybe it was like MJF was paying all of them just to do that one thing, and that was it. But they should at least have some like backstage segment
That's
with
why,
MJF
yeah.
and Stokely, and he's
Exactly.
like, hands him a pile of cash. Thank you for last
Exactly.
night, and that would cover all your loose ends.
Yeah, and I mean this group, they get together because they don't have any TV time, and then the first night they're together, the cameraman comes up to him and say, "Hey, we're running low on time." What the heck? So why'd you even join this group together?
Yeah, I guess I did. I don't know.
So you still can't get TV time.
And it kind
Remember,
of goes back.
remember when
Go
Ethan
ahead.
Page came out and said that he should be on the show more often, and then the only time we seen him again was last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
and two, it kind of goes into the things we were talking about with the Kevin Owens segment. It like somewhat breaks the fourth wall.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Not as bad as Kevin Owens, but it's like, man, I don't want to know about your timing restrictions. I want to think that the matches will go until a winner is found or a time limit draw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely so.
But
I don't know, man. Them giving them 30 seconds probably did more harm than good.
yeah. Well, ultimately, I was low on time when this next match came up. The
Lord.
Ring of Honor Pure Championship was being defended as Daniel Garcia faced Wheeler Yuta. West Side Gun rapped Daniel Garcia out.
What's your favorite West Side Gun song? What's your favorite?
Well, the one.
Yeah. You know,
Or
I like. Yeah. You know what?
yeah,
I really
or the
like
one with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but remember when he came out with Daniel Garcia? That was my favorite, honestly.
I don't know, man. No disrespect to West Side Gun, but I just don't know.
I don't know who he is.
They should be like.
I never heard of him.
They should be like, West Side Gun is here with his number one song or something like that. I don't know, man. I know it's not like the freaking VMAs or anything, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just
The
maybe
local crowd liked it. The local crowd liked it.
Well, I think he's a Buffalo guy. Me personally, I don't really know the guy. I don't listen to a ton of like current music either, but maybe he's bigger than I know.
Nah, the way music is now, man, it's so many genres and so many subgenres of music. Like, there's no really like number one biggest star in the world like it was in like the 80s or the 90s. Like, Mike Jackson was literally God in the 80s. Everybody knew who that was. It's somebody's mom, somebody's dad, the son, the daughter. Everybody knew who Michael Jackson was. Now, how many people know who Bad Bunny is? Even though he's probably the number one like artist in the world right now.
Well, what
How many
about
people
Drake?
know him? Drake, but still though, how many people like? Do you think any 60-year-old know who Drake is?
Probably not, but
It's just the way
well,
music is now.
yeah, it's just well, in all honesty, back in those days there wasn't a ton to take you out of it, and radio was also bigger. So
Yeah,
like
that's all you got.
if somebody was popular, yeah. And nowadays like me personally, I don't listen to much current music. I listen to rock music. I like Nirvana, Foo Fighters, Alice in Chains, some Leonard Skinner. I may throw on Greta Van Fleet every now and then. I don't know, just some stuff like that. And I don't have to listen to anything new.
Well,
So,
it's kind of like
I,
wrestling too. I mean, it's not as big as it was in the '90s because there was only 40 channels in the '90s, and two of them had wrestling on it every Monday night. I mean,
yeah.
now you can be a big star, but if you're a big star in Japan and you come over here to the States and walk through the mall, like how many people are going to say, "Oh my God, that's Tomohiro Ishii right there in Hot Topic"? Like who's going to know who that is? It's
Yeah.
just the way media is now, I guess.
Well, I won't say there's too much, but
It
there's
is though.
just a lot.
It's too
Yeah.
much.
And you can find exactly your thing and only pay attention to that. But
It's way too much.
regardless, we digress. West Side Gun rapped Daniel Garcia out, and
He rapped him out.
yeah,
Yeah, I rapped out of the room. I turned the TV off. I was out of this. How'd the match go?
that's crazy. I really don't know.
You didn't watch it either? I thought you liked these guys.
I had
Man.
like
You didn't
I
watch
watched like the first half of it, and then I got busy doing something else. I don't know what it was, and I was like, I'll come back and watch it. And then the
Never
more I
did.
thought about it, I was like, I don't want to go back and watch this match. And Garcia won,
Yeah.
and
Daniel Bryan came out.
yeah,
Okay.
that's about it.
No, Jericho came out too, didn't he?
I legit only saw the clip where Garcia won.
You know what clip I saw? And it made me not want to go back and watch it. When they got into like a
What?
little slap fight in the middle of the ring. They got into like
Well,
a little slap fight. And then I was thinking back, man, I seen Sheamus and Gunther beat the heck out of each other on Saturday, and I got to watch these guys on Wednesday. So yeah, man, I wasn't gonna pay any attention to that.
I mean, I don't know. It was kind of a lackluster Dynamite, and
That
I
was the main
was kind of
event.
just ready to go. It should have been
That was
Paige and Danielson.
the main event. Where were
Well,
you?
and that's what the problem is. Like AEW quarter hours, um, the one for this week, that instead of it like dipping in the middle and coming back up, more of okay, instead of your quarter hour being like a U, it's typically more just like a downward hill. Like nobody sticks around to see the end of the show. They will stay around in the middle to see whatever match, and then that's it. To open up the
Yeah.
show, they did a 1.22, and then by the end of the night, I think they were in the 800,000s.
Are you surprised?
I mean, no, but like, why would you not put Paige and Danielson on first? Respectfully, I am okay with both of these guys. I like Garcia a little bit more than Wheeler, but like I don't care. I don't really care for this feud either.
There's guys missing from this show that I would have liked to see, like Samoa Joe. I know he's on
Or
Rampage a lot,
FTR.
but FTR. How long has it been since they had a tag match on the show? I
That's
think
a great
Dax had a
question.
singles match with Cesaro or Claudio, but I mean, I don't know, man. Having Garcia and Wheeler Yuta in the main event, it didn't do it. I wasn't gonna stick around and watch that, but I'm sure there's people out there that love Ring of Honor and love that kind of wrestling that did stick around for it, and I'm sure they were very happy to watch that.
Well, it wasn't me. Yeah, they opened up the show
Yeah,
with 1.22, and they closed the show with 8,000. 8,000. They closed the show with 881,000 people. So I don't know. What do you rate Dynamite?
I don't know, man. There's a lot of stuff I skipped on this show, so I can't give it higher than like a 4.3, 4.7. A lot of stuff that I wouldn't have done personally. A lot of things I didn't like how it played out right after a pay-per-view, and the fact they didn't explain why they were having a tournament for the vacated champion kind of made me a little mad. And Garcia and Yuta main event the show, always gonna be a down week for me.
Well, I'm gonna give it a 5.5. Match it up there with Raw. I mean, they just Paige and Danielson was solid. Other than that, like the Jericho 30-second segment was good. The MJF stuff was good. Didn't
Yeah,
care for it. Literally anything else.
that second hour drop, man.
Yeah. And it's not just an AEW thing this week. It was all across the board.
You figure after pay-per-view, they go all out. No pun intended.
It's kind of like you said for Raw. They're probably just building back to stuff or like building stuff up. So I get that to an extent, but especially with all the buzz coming out of the
Yeah, exactly.
pay-per-view,
Yeah,
what would have made somebody stick around? They saw the show opening. Like you had 1.22 that opened up the show that were there watching the first 15 minutes.
yeah.
And then you gave them no reason to stick around. Like if it were me, I would not have put Paige and Danielson in the middle of the show. I would have put it on immediately after or last, but not in the middle.
And I'm sure their plans did kind of get blown up by the whole Elite and Punk going away for a little while. So I guess we can give them a pass, kinda, but still, man, you had a few days to figure out what you were gonna do.
I mean, that's true, I guess. I digress. We'll move to Friday night SmackDown. This was in Seattle. Um, Again, this just rounds out the midweek of wrestling. I do want to note that Pat McAfee is gone right now. He's working for College Game Day. So I don't think he's going to be back until maybe like January or February, somewhere around there.
He did sign an
Uh,
extension in July for WWE.
yeah, it's just kind of crazy that they let him do it. I mean, I don't know. It's going to hurt their show, I'm sure.
Especially when you got Corey on commentary.
Oh God,
Like
no,
we
no.
couldn't have
Now I
found.
gotta hear him twice a week.
Yeah, why couldn't we get Wade Barrett or what's the guy that was doing commentary for NXT UK? Nigel McGuinness. Where are those guys?
Ah,
Bring those guys up, man. Nigel's just rotting away on the NXT developmental show, Level Up. How you doing commentary for that?
there's not even. Is that still going?
Yeah, Level Up is every week, but the NXT UK show he was commentating for that, but that they had their last show last week, so he's just doing
Oh my
Level Up now.
God. Yeah,
Yeah,
they should have brought him to the
wasting
main
away.
roster.
Absolutely. Now I get it because they probably don't want to put him on there and just take him off when Pat gets back, but man, you got to find something for him to do.
Yeah, like they couldn't go to a three commentator table.
It does feel a little crowded when it's a three commentary table, though.
It don't bother me if the guys sound distinct. When they used to have JR and Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler, it didn't bother me, but I mean, I see your point. Like Michael Cole and Taz was good, and Pat McAfee and Michael Cole works. But hey, man, I mean,
JR and
tell them,
King.
hey, yeah, JR and King, go, hey, we'll give you however much bump in pay if you'll come and record SmackDown for us just for a few months. Then send them back to NXT UK. I don't think that would be a problem.
Nah, I
I
wouldn't
just
hate
don't
it.
want to hear Corey Graves twice a week.
No, he's lost something, man.
Did he ever have it? Well, you
He was
can't
good
lose
when
with Shane Guy.
Nah, he was good in NXT when he first started on commentary. And then when he got called up to Raw, it just kind of sounded a little watered down. But he didn't sound as bad as he does now. He did. It just, yeah, he's one of their worst commentators now.
Yeah.
He won commentator of the year back when he was with NXT, and it sounds like a completely different person now.
I cannot imagine that.
No, he was good
Well,
back in the day. Like, you remember how JBL was really good in like '07, and then when
yeah.
he came back and commentated again, he just did not sound the same.
I didn't hate it.
A lot of people did, man, especially online.
Yeah, I mean I know, but a lot of people hate JR. I don't think JR is that bad. I would take JR over freaking Tony Schiavone any day of the week.
Well, of course.
Well, anyways, keeping the trending theme and
I take a cardboard cutout over Tony Schiavone, honestly.
I tried to move on and you just out here digging this man.
I'm sorry, go
You're good. All right, so next up we had the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium to open up the show. It was a solid matchup. Sheamus and Gunther came in the ring about like halfway through, and then they cut to commercial. And by the time we come back from commercial, they're out of the ring. I was like, "Isn't this the whole thing? Like, shouldn't you save a hot tag for them?"
Uh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. I didn't think about it like that.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. It was just weird. Like it bothered me. That's the matchup everybody wants to see. Like, no disrespect to Butch or Ludwig, but like, I'm not watching this for y'all.
Well, hold on, now that sounded like disrespect when you said his name like that.
I didn't mean it that way.
Sure you
Well,
did.
oh yeah, just like you don't mean disrespect to CM Punk. Well, we'll move on.
Yeah.
Sheamus came in off the hot tag later on, and he cleaned house. He landed like 25 of those forearm shots on Ludwig, and he
Mm,
was laying them in as he lined up for the bro kick. Kaiser dodged it, but Vici took it. Or is it Vinci or Vici?
Vinci.
Vinci. Okay. And Vinci took it, but Kaiser was the legal man. So then Sheamus went and tagged in Ridge, and as he landed a running elbow, he went for the pin, but Gunther broke it up. All six men started brawling, some on the inside, some on the outside of the ring. They were just landing shots back and forth with one another. And then Ludwig and Vinci got Riddick up for the Imperial Bomb, landed it 1, 2, 3, and Imperium picked up the win here.
Sheamus was over. Like they were when he was doing that little thing on the outside where he hits his opponent's midsection. Man, the crowd was on their feet.
He has had like somewhat of a resurgence. Like it's felt like he's been treading water for a few months now, but all of a sudden, maybe I bet it's just because of the match quality they had on that last one, but he is like super over everywhere they go right now.
He's turning babyface naturally, man. They're just letting the crowd turn him.
I mean, I'm fine with it. The dude's putting on good matches. His stuff isn't as atrocious as it used to be, and he just had that barn burner with Drew, had the good match with Gunther, um, the great match with Gunther actually, and then a solid match here on SmackDown. Hey man, keep putting him on the show.
Bro, he done had 2 5-star matches in the last 3 months by Meltzer.
Well, who do you have the other one with?
Drew.
That was a 5-star?
Yes. On SmackDown. They had a 5-star match on SmackDown. And they legit gave him like 45 minutes to have that match.
I didn't know that he gave him that much or that good for it, because I knew he gave Cody and Seth 5 stars, but I didn't know he gave it to Drew and Sheamus. But they deserved it.
Yeah, it was a really good match.
Yeah,
Probably the best TV match all year.
yeah. It's up there.
At least on WWE.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always Punk versus Moxley.
So Imperium won this match, which they should have.
Yeah.
And Sheamus and Billy Gunn are the number one baby faces for this week, in my eyes at least.
Hey man, we need a Survivor Series between AEW and you imagine Billy Gunn versus Sheamus? Who would have thought?
I wouldn't hate it.
I mean, about the same size.
Hey man, get Road Dogg to come out.
Put Sheamus on Billy's lunch regiment.
Oh man.
Well, anyways, we'll move to the highlight of this show. Sammy and the Usos were in the ring as they were welcoming a new member to the bloodline in Solo Sikoa. Sammy hyped everyone up here, telling everybody to get those ones up and welcome the bloodline. The Usos then welcome in their younger brother, Solo Sikoa, and his entrance was really cool. Like the presentation they had for him was really nice.
Is this the first time you've seen him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's really good in the ring too.
He's still keeping the street champion moniker, which I think is pretty good. I don't hate it.
Yeah, it makes him stand out from the rest of the Usos. You don't want them getting like you don't want them blending into the tag team of the Usos and just being a tag team guy for life, like how the Usos are. Like, can you imagine Jey Uso splitting off and having a title run by himself?
I mean, he had those solid matches with Roman.
But he just never thought he could like carry the show by himself. He always
Oh,
just tag team guy.
yeah, nah, not like a show carrying champion, but I mean, if he was like on a singles run and was like an intercontinental or something, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, but remember how they treated Kofi as world champion? He just never felt like world champion. He just felt like a tag team guy holding a world championship.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're saying. It just,
When you get lumped into a tag team your whole career, it's just hard to shake that off. Like how many guys have done that?
mm, Shawn Michaels.
But Shawn wasn't like was he in a tag team that long?
I think the Rockers were together for a good while.
I don't know. What did they debut in like 88 and they broke up in what 91, 92?
Something like that. I don't know, man. I don't know my 80s wrestling.
But still though, it's that's rare though that somebody can shake off the tag team moniker and become a singles guy.
Yeah,
Unless you just reset your character.
yeah. I agree. Well, as he entered the ring, Sammy tried to get him to hug him, but he just stared at Sammy until he quit. Like, he just put his arms down. Solo then grabbed the mic and explained who he is. As he was doing so, Drew McIntyre interrupted. He ran down with a chair as Solo stood tall in the ring, ready for him to enter. Drew landed a shot to his midsection as Solo was close to the ropes, and then Drew rolled in and he went to crack Solo in the back with the chair, but Sammy jumped in or pushed Solo out of the way and took the chair shot. And then Drew challenged Solo for a match tonight, and Solo accepted it, looking to prove himself.
Did you hear when Zayn said deep AF when Jimmy was talking about how the bloodline was running deep?
Yeah, because Jimmy said something like, Jay would say something, and then he was like, no cap.
Bro, how do they keep it together in those segments when Sammy is hitting them with them one liners?
I have no idea. Well, Jimmy, or not Jimmy, Jay started to get cracked up. Like, I could see it on his face that he started laughing and was trying to, like, not make his face laugh. I think it was when Sammy said that, and it just, I don't know, the whole thing cracks me up like a few weeks ago when you could see Roman and Jay getting cracked up. It's the best thing on SmackDown right now, in all honesty.
Easily.
Well, there were some woman matches here. I wasn't here, but they were here.
I don't remember.
I think it was like Raquel and Aaliyah versus Toxic Attraction.
Oh, they came back?
I think it was Toxic Attraction.
Did they get called up?
I don't know. I wouldn't hate it.
We skipped it, so I mean, it can't be that good.
And then after that, I think they had like a 5-women battle royale or something. Ronda
You know
Rousey
what?
won.
You know what? I'm just still a little irked that we did not get Nikita Lyons on that episode of SmackDown. So I'm skipping all Toxic Attraction matches until we get Nikita.
Man, you just thirsty. You just want to see Nikita Lyons.
Hey man, I enjoy her wrestling.
Yeah, okay. Thicky the
Yes,
Wagon Steamboat.
there's a lot of gimmicks I enjoy.
Yeah, I bet. After this, I think it took up around like 20 or 30 minutes for all those.
Jeez.
The Bloodline was in the back, and they were hyping up Solo as Sammy walked in. Kind of tense for a second, but then Solo tells Sammy that he appreciates what he brings to the Bloodline, and Jay just was not having it. He was pissed, and they started arguing, but Jimmy calmed him down and was like, hey, tonight's not about you two. Tonight's about Solo, and we need to be hyping him up. We need to be there for him. So we're all going to be there tonight when he faces Drew.
Okay. I like how they're bringing them in on top. Like that's how you bring in a guy and take him serious. If you bring him in and have him interact with main event storyline guys.
Yeah, and they've done that well with just about everybody they brought in. Think about Dakota Kai and Io, even though they're technically lackeys for Bailey, they're still involved with the women's champion and the world tag team titles. You've also got Braun, who maybe is not feuding with like main event guys, but he's beating up a ton of people. Cross
Yeah,
has been involved with Roman and Drew for the past few weeks. Johnny Gargano is feuding with Austin Theory. So they've done a good job of bringing these guys. I can't. Bringing these guys in and keeping them relevant and in good storylines that will benefit all parties involved.
exactly. You don't see them 1 week and then just not see them for like 4 or 5 weeks after that, which is what they were guilty of doing. When Vince was at the helm.
Yeah. And I mean, there's somebody guilty of it on Wednesdays, but I don't really know.
Unless you're Daniel Garcia, man, you're gonna be seen 1 week and gone the next.
Just your weekly reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the FTR have been number one contenders since April, but that's neither here nor there.
And have not had a tag match on AEW since May.
Jeez, that's ridiculous. And also,
Crazy.
let me just mention this. I understand Dax is a better wrestler than Cash, but let's not act like Cash is some pushover. But he never has singles matches.
He's got to be hurt. He's got to be injured.
You think?
There has to be a reason why they never use him in singles matches or they never have tag matches anymore. It's got to be an injury thing, man.
But he tweeted something the other day that was like, man, I miss wrestling. He was like, I'm not trying to take anything away from Dax because he's having a great year, but I want us to be having tag team matches.
Dang. Well, never mind what I said.
He might be working through something, maybe like something minor, but I don't know, man. It just, in a perfect world, I guess we get FTR. I guess that's what it takes. Well, we got a few things to just hit on real quick. Next, we had an 8-man tag between Top Dollar and the Street Profits versus the Maximum Male Models and Los Lotharios.
You ain't gonna mention the Adonis over there?
I thought,
Just mention Dollar.
did I say it? Man, I meant
His partner wasn't even there.
I meant to type Hit Row, but for some reason I just said Top Dollar. Well, regardless, I wasn't sticking around for that one.
Yeah, there wasn't much you missed.
Uh,
Well, hold up. I had a real funny spot with Marseille and Mansois. They are living this gimmick, man. They are all in.
that's great, and I'm usually sticking around for it. Not
but not.
I've seen so many 6-mans and 8-mans and 4-team pack challenges in the past like 2 or 3 weeks. You can make an entire Royal Rumble out of it. So I'm not sticking around for this.
Hey, but these guys, man, like they did a tag spot where they like just grazed each other's like index finger, and then like they did a tag move where they hit something, and then the camera they would look dead into the hard cam, and the hard cam would like zoom in really quick. That I mean, they had some funny spots like that, but yeah, other than that, wasn't really much in this tag match.
I mean, I again, I'd like to see them in something I do want to watch because they crack me up. But
They might be on borrowed time with LA Knight supposedly making a return soon.
well,
Did you see that backstage they had?
I did not.
Well, he said something like he was giving them a speech about let's not be down, you guys. Sometimes we have to go through dark days to see a bright. And then he like stopped for a sec and he said night, and he just looks off into the distance, and then he says like yeah, and he just walks away. So I don't know, man. Maybe they're planting seeds about LA Knight making a return.
Mm, they should give him a better name than that, but that's besides the point.
They hate.
I mean, I don't know. Everybody acts like Max Dupree is atrocious, but LA Knight is not just a great name either.
It's kind of hard to chant.
Yeah. Well, next up, Braun Strowman beat the piss out of Alpha Academy, and that's that's all I really saw out of that segment.
Crowd loved him.
Yeah, he's over, but it's just crazy all the hate he gets on the internet. But I just don't. Again, stuff like this goes to prove that the people you read on the internet are not all fans' thoughts.
Yeah, definitely so. Vocal minority.
Yeah.
He's in the right place, but I cannot see him on AEW.
No, they did not need to bring him in. He is a one-trick pony. Like, he works in WWE and anywhere else. Even the stuff he was doing in Impact or NWA or wherever else they were at, it just was not
It
good.
just wasn't the same. Yeah, he fits well with WWE.
Probably,
And I mean, you can get away with being a one trick pony. I mean, the Ultimate Warrior made a whole career out of being a one trick pony.
yeah. And two, he's probably just one of those guys that does not need to be left to his own devices and needs somebody to be there for him and give him ideas and write for him. And that there's nothing wrong
Oh,
with that.
are you saying that somebody else needs to control his narrative?
Well, I wouldn't say that, but
He powerbombed and looked really good in this segment.
yeah. Maybe he'll be in the main event scene soon, or maybe he'll call old Nicholas back up and beat the Usos.
Hey man, I wouldn't hate it.
I would.
Yeah, I'm lying. I would hate that.
Well,
He's got to be in the scene though soon, right?
I would think. Where else would you put him? Maybe against Bobby?
You know that wouldn't be bad.
I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah.
And it would be a good match, I think. Bobby and him could have a solid like big man match. It only needs to go like 8 to 10 minutes max.
Yeah, I can see it.
Well, as Mark Henry says, it's time for the main event. And this one had Solo Sikoa versus Drew McIntyre. What?
More of a really.
You said what?
It was more of an angle than a main event.
Yeah, that's true. But I didn't hate it. I just knew they weren't going to make Solo lose his first match on the roster, and then I knew they weren't going to let him go over Drew McIntyre. So it just kind of took me out of it a little bit. But it started very competitive. Solo had control for majority before the break, or after the break. I think he looks really solid to not have been in NXT for like really that long.
But I'm sure he's been training his whole life though.
Well, I'm sure, but I mean, I don't know. Aaliyah was there for like 6 years.
Well, she's a girl.
Oh. He landed a nasty hip attack on Drew as the bloodline was cheering him on, eating it up. Drew finally built some momentum up, landed some elbows and a nice belly-to-belly. He then started tearing down all of the bloodline members as they tried to interfere, jumping on the apron and, distracting the ref, distracting Drew, this, that, and the other. Drew drugged Sammy in and went for the Claymore, but Solo ran in and landed a nasty super kick. As the ref was turned around focusing on Solo and Sammy because they were trying to, distract him, the Usos were beating the piss out of Drew because he had rolled to the outside after the fact. And as they were beating him down, the Street Profits came in and helped clear the Usos off. And then Sammy comes over there as Solo's distracting the ref, and he tries to beat the Street Profits up and help the Usos. Montez goes up to the top, jumps off, crashes down onto all of them. And then when Drew slides back in, Solo hits the ropes opposite of him. He lands a Claymore, but it sends Solo to the outside of the ring. And as Drew goes to stand up and go to get Solo back in, Karrion Kross slides in from behind and lands the straight jacket as SmackDown closes. But there was a few things that bothered me about this ending. I'm fine with it because, like I said, it gives both the guys an out. Drew doesn't have to lose. Solo doesn't have to lose. Drew doesn't have to lose without either of them, losing any steam or anything. But is it not weird that, the minute Cross gets on the TV, it goes black to white? And then he choked him out for, what felt like 5 minutes. And Drew never went out.
Well, he probably paid somebody off in production. Wait, MJF can play a video of CM Punk 15 years ago, and you didn't say anything about that. You thought it was a great ending to the show. How did MJF get that footage? Why did Tony Khan let him play that footage?
He got one of his henchmen to go hack the production truck.
Well, Karrion Kross did too.
Well, I mean, I guess that's true. But, okay, the choke is really what bothered me because Drew did not fade.
Yeah. Well, he's a babyface. You don't want him to just fade out so easily. Give him a little fight.
I'm not saying that, but give him a little fight and then have him pass out and then have Karrion stand over him.
I thought it was really unique how they did that, though. The screen literally went black.
Yeah.
While Drew faded off into sleepy time, I guess. I thought that was pretty, it was unique.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that I'll remember.
That's true. It wasn't like a bad ending. It just, I don't know.
When you break it down, logical standpoint, it made no sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you can check it's wrestling. So when you check your suspension of disbelief at the door, it was alright.
Yeah, and I didn't think about it until you said it earlier about it kind of gets Drew out of the Roman thing and leads him to other ventures, but overall, I would give SmackDown I'd probably give it a worse rating, actually. I'm going to go 4.5.
Oh, wait, hold up now. Where the Street Profits were at when Roman was beating them up a couple weeks ago?
That's true.
Where are they at? Drew just became friends with the Street Profits, I guess.
Drew's been there for 8 years and only just made friends last week.
I'm sorry, man. What score did you give it again?
Nah, I mean you're good, but I understand what you're saying because the week before last week he got beat like a drum, and nobody came out there.
It was like for 10 minutes he got beat up last week.
Or that was something else about me. No security ran down, and Cross was choking him out forever. But it's the same thing last week. Nobody ran down to help him when he was getting beat up by the Bloodline.
Yeah.
WWE has no
you look
security.
at it logically. Unless it's the parking lot. Well, even then, the parking lot ain't safe either.
The NXT parking lot has become the main roster parking lot. Well, anyways, I gave it a 4.5. It really just
Yeah.
lulled in the middle. Not as bad as the other shows, or as it lulled worse to me than the other shows because I had like the giant stretch of women's matches and then the 8-man, and then
Yeah.
there just wasn't a whole lot to watch this for. The beginning and the end.
Yeah, pretty much. The 6-man was really good. The Imperium versus the Brawling Brutes. The the main event was more of an angle, so you really can't say that was a great match, but it was done well. So yeah, I'll give it like a 4. I mean, it's really not much you can say on this SmackDown. I mean, the ending is definitely gonna be memorable, but overall, yeah, it was there.
Yeah. Well, show of the week, we unanimous Alabama versus Texas.
Oh yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Bryce Young is him.
Bryce Young is him. And show of the week, or not show of the week, I just said that. It's late.
Match of the
Match of the
week.
week, what would you say?
Uh, mm, Probably I go with the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium. I really like that.
Okay.
Kevin Owens in theory is probably a second, but yeah, I like that 6-man.
I'll say Paige and Danielson.
Oh dang, I forgot about that. Okay, yeah, never mind.
Paige and Danielson's yours?
Yeah, that was good too.
Yeah.
I forget. I always forget that we're covering Dynamite too. I thought you were just talking about just Raw and SmackDown.
Well, it is an odd week too because we're doing the weekend update super show, but yeah, that to me was my match of the week. But overall, man, just ugh. That's
Yeah,
all I can really say. Ugh.
it was a lot of momentum coming out of both shows for their pay-per-views, and they just kind of played the safe route, you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll just have to see where it goes. But hopefully we can be back on schedule next week with everything. I don't really think there was many scoops of the week besides the Malachi and
Nah,
Christian stuff. I can't really think of anything else.
and we covered that.
Yeah. And yeah. So next week hopefully we'll be back on our regular schedule with a Raw and Dynamite review and then the weekend update covering just SmackDown and the scoops of the week. Hopefully Alabama dominates. I think we're playing like some no-name team next week, and hopefully Dak Prescott, or hopefully I can find a replacement for old Dak.
And hopefully Tony Khan will grow a set and fire Phil Brooks.
Yeah, we're not talking about that though. Make sure to join us next week. We'll be breaking down everything again. As always, check out our Twitter and Instagram at ScoopSlamPod. Usually have some live posts if I'm watching Dynamite or Raw live. Typically don't catch SmackDown because I work pretty late Friday night. But also make sure to tune in to our YouTube channel. I try and upload clips there when available. And other than that, we hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and we will be back. Have a good one.
Peace, everybody.